Nick. I spelled it N-I-C-K, and then come to find out it's just N-I-C.
Oh.
Is it still foggy? Group me going at 6 o'clock in the morning. Ew. 6:06. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you. Jake Barty producing. Got a busy show for you today. We always have a busy show for you. Stacked up lineup. Going to start with Patrick Remy on. Patty G, host of the Patty G Show. Going to be on at 6:35. Interesting topic via the business report this morning. It's one we've discussed a few times, but it continues to linger. And that is about managing work-life balance when you work from home. How exactly do you do it? How can you shut off work when you're never going home from work? I'm going to talk about that and a few other topics when Patrick Remy is on board about half an hour from right now. In our 7 o'clock hour, we will have Crimestoppers. In our 8 o'clock hour, Lake Charles Mayor Nick Hunter was the guest at the Rotary Club yesterday. Got the chance to hear his story. And, well, his city story, more to the point. He's going to share that with us at 8:15. Also this morning, Jonathan Pixley is with Matchpoint. If you don't know who Matchpoint is, they are doing some pretty amazing things in the NIL space right now. And they've got a whole new, well, not a whole new division, but a focus on female athletes. Read about this yesterday and could not wait to talk about it as well. As the name, image, and likeness world is a game changer off the field for endorsements, on social media for endorsements. How do you turn that back into on field or on court or in the gym or whatever the sport might be, on the beach, whatever the sport might be, turn that back into ticket sales, attendance, that sort of thing. Going to talk with Jonathan Pixley at 8:40 this morning. Also, Ask the Governor was yesterday. We've got a ton of audio from Ask the Governor. I'm looking forward to this because we are less than a week away from the current mask mandate ending. What happens when the current mask mandate ends? The governor had some hints yesterday. I mean, didn't outright say what was going to happen, but definitely hinted towards some things. So we will unpack all that at 7:15. Got to tell you, it's 6:08 in the morning, and if you have not yet gone outside, budget yourself a couple of extra minutes to get to work. If you are right now getting yourself ready for work, budget yourself a couple of extra minutes because it's foggy out there. You heard the forecast from Marissa Nuzzo, and that's where we're going to lead off this morning, is with the fog. It is it is thick this morning. My drive-in was an hour and 40 minutes ago, but nonetheless, the fog is here. It's going to take a minute to burn off, too. I mean, the sun's going to be up for a little bit before this is fully gone. So if you've got the commute, if you're taking the kiddos to school, if the kiddos are going to be standing out by the bus stop, whatever the case might be, budget yourself a couple of extra minutes and be ready for it because things are going to slow down a little bit as visibility is at a minimum due to the fog this morning. Oh, also on the show, we're going to be doing this regularly here. Bonus content this morning for YouTube subscribers, or if you're watching on YouTube, I should say. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Bonus content this morning. You ever seen the show The Doctors? Well, Dr. Ian Smith is one of the doctors on The Doctors. He's the fitness guru guy. He's going to join us at 9:10 this morning. But interestingly enough, not about being a doctor, not about fitness. He's got a series of crime drama novels. And the second in that series came out, or is out right now. So we'll have Dr. Ian Smith this morning after the show. After the show on air. We'll still be on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, if you have not yet subscribed, we are giving away 5 sets of tickets, or 4 packs of tickets, to Boo at the Zoo for this weekend. It's this easy. Subscribe on YouTube. That's it. Subscribe on YouTube and you are entered to win. We're picking them at the end of the show today, so you have time to pick them up tomorrow before heading out to the Boo at the Zoo either Saturday or Sunday. Which, by the way, one more weekend to go for Boo at the Zoo. Dress the kids up. 12 and under, get bags of candy on the way out. There is a costume contest as well. You can dress up the whole family before heading out to Boo at the Zoo at Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. Enter the costume contest and possibly win a annual pass. Family pass to Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. All right. We're going to take a break in just a second. We're going to talk a little bit about LSU football after that. Ed Ogeron was on the SEC Coaches Teleconference yesterday. Got some audio from that. Before we take that break, though, want to remind you about the folks over at Methern's Market. They have 2 locations, 3rd Street downtown and Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive, right across the street from Tiger Stadium. Tell you about the app regularly, tell you about the rewards program regularly, remind you about tailgate platters regularly, which, by the way, today's Thursday. If you're going to get them in now. But also, there's a level of convenience with Methern's, especially the one over by campus. You know you can get pre-prepared meals right there in the deli? In fact, yesterday, and I'm grabbing this right from their Facebook page, you just walk on in and grab the meal for the whole family. Crawfish pasta, shrimp pasta, lasagna, chicken Alfredo pasta, all of it available regularly. They've got a different selection every single day. Just walk on in, grab it, pop it in the oven when you get home, and you're good to go. Fully prepared meals, just got to be heated back up again, ready to go at both locations of Methern's Market, downtown on 3rd or Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive. Again, the rewards program is phenomenal. Earn yourself some points, earn yourself some rewards with the rewards program. Just give them the phone number as you're checking out. Quick break. When we come back, Ed Ogeron was on the SEC Coaches Teleconference yesterday. We're going to hear from him next on Talk 107.3. Okay. Okay. Yes, yes. 1, 2, and 4, for sure. Right. His mom passed. Hey, morning, Christy. Welcome in, boo. Hey, they bought it. Yeah. Yesterday. Morning, Renee. Morning, Eric. Morning, Clint. Oh. 616 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So SEC coaches teleconference yesterday. Ed Ogeron in, as he is every single week, for at least 5 more weeks. Talk about Ole Miss. Actually, redirecting and talking about the upcoming game LSU and Coach O have done a good job of that this week. Keeping the focus on football, they've done a good job of that this week. I was producing the Ed Ogeron show last night over on a sister station, Eagle 98.1, or for the whole network, actually. And questions were about football. Questions were about Ole Miss. Questions were about, is Matt Corral going to play? Questions were about capitalizing on Ty Davis-Price and the offensive line and Jack Mashburn and getting the defense. Are you satisfied with the defense? It was all about football and not about the off-the-field stuff. And that's not a matter of screening or sifting through to find it. That's what was coming into the studio altogether. SEC coaches teleconference yesterday. Ed Ogeron talking about opening up the book or turning the page to Ole Miss.
Obviously, we were very pleased when I went over to Florida Gators. We had the 24-hour rule, had to move forward. On a very, very good Ole Miss football team, one of the best offenses we're going to see all year. Lane Kiffin's one of the best play callers in college football.
Now, that's not to say that there was nothing about Coach O and, well, the decision to move on beyond Coach O. In fact, a question did come up. Why coach out the string? Why keep it going for the rest of the season?
I feel good about it. I mean, this is our team. I wanted to finish out with it. My athletic director wanted me to finish out with it. We haven't blinked. We move forward. It's the focus really now is on Ole Miss, and really not much has changed.
I wonder if there's a gig just to be like a permanent interim coach. Just travel the country like a mercenary. When a coach gets fired, let Ed Ogeron step in. He might be the best interim coach in history. Just pop on it. He did it at USC. He did it at LSU. He sounds more relaxed, in a groove, good to go, knows his future, knows his fate, settles into it, and just capitalizes on it. Could that be a thing? You don't need to know the system. You just move on in, and boop, there you go. You got an interim coach.
That is a thing in other sports, actually.
Well, back to the SEC coaches teleconference. Offensive line, growing, getting healthy, getting better. Ed Ogeron commented on it.
I spent a bunch of time last week showing cut-ups of our offensive line dominating our defensive line, knocking them off the ball. I'm the defensive line coach also, so I didn't like it. But I had to show the team. I think Brad Davis has done a tremendous job with this line. They're the most improved unit on the team.
It is easy to forget how late to the game Brad Davis was. It is easy to forget that they made that hire late in the process. The educational process, the learning the terminology, technique, all that other good stuff, it started late, so it was going to gel late. Let's hope they can keep it up this weekend at Ole Miss. All right, kickoff 2:30. Coverage on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, starts at 9:30 in the morning Saturday. Let's get you to the Fox Business Report here on Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk. It's all right. There will be times where I'm looking for dialogue. It just wasn't one of them. I'm managing the clock right there. Kill the mic for a second. Yep.
There's only one cut for Braves on CCA.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a minute long.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to go sharpen this real quick. Be right back. Golly. All right, so the next phase of the back problem, I'm about 70% back to normal. I mean, I'm standing up because the transition of sitting down and standing up still hurts. So it's either one or the other. All right? But what I didn't realize is for the last 4 days, or Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, and yesterday, as I'm trying to compensate for my back, I've had my stomach like doing a constant crunch. Like my stomach has been flexed for 4 days. I'm so sore on the front now. Yeah, I just I'm well in order to compensate for it, it's kind of hopefully not. Yeah, hopefully right. Oh man. Yeah. No. It is non-existent. You got to know your individual system. You got guys who have trained on a particular system for throughout the spring and the off season, and you can't just pick up and say, "Go run whatever." No. No, you got to know what you've been working on. You got to know, like, offense and defense. You know what? I'm going to have to sit down. This is starting to wear out. Shit. If you're not used to the offense and how the offense is run, if you're not used to how the defense and the defense is run, every coach does something different. So... Baseball's about the only one where it would work. Football and basketball, no. Yeah, really all you'd have to adapt to in baseball is self-scouting. Cool.
That's the only cut?
Yeah. .625, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP on this foggy Thursday morning. Once again, budget yourself a little bit extra time on your way in. It's going to be a little bit slower. You're going to probably see some brake lights through the fog throughout this morning. As you heard Ashley in her traffic report there, now's not the time to take a new route. Take the route you're used to, as it will be a good little bit before the fog burns off this morning. I had a press release from Congressman Graves' office yesterday after we'd had Congressman on yesterday morning, and then yesterday afternoon I saw this. Congressman Graves announces 3 fire districts have disaster loans forgiven from the 2016 flood. This was a decent amount of relief for the Central Fire Protection District, the East Side Fire Protection District, and the East Baton Rouge Fire Protection District. Central number 4, East Side number 5, and EBR District 6. They're getting loans forgiven to the tune of, for the Central Fire Protection District number 4, $770,299. East Side, $581,657, and East Baton Rouge Fire Protection District number 6, $216,339. The congressman says this loan repayment impacts every single person in our community in the aftermath of a disaster. Local governments take a hit financially through tax impacts, and there's a surge in immediate emergency response. This means greater need with less money. The rescue efforts were critical during the 2016 flood and not an option. These fire districts should not be penalized for their heroic work. And yeah, 5 years later, I think we can all continue to look back and recognize the heroism from every outlet that helped out in the wake of the 2016 flood. Hey, speaking of Congressman Graves, one of the things we talked about when I had him on yesterday is an event that's coming up tonight, and that's the Banquet and Star Awards for CCA. Jay Ducote's going to be doing a show from out there tonight, 4 to 6. Right after the Jay Ducote show, Kevin Ford's Louisiana Outdoor Adventure going to be broadcasting live from the Live Oak Arabians off of Jefferson Highway as the CCA banquet will be going on. I want to say it runs 5:30 until 11. In fact, Congressman sounded off on not just the banquet, but CCA as a whole and what they do and what impact they have.
CCA is such a great group. We love working with them on fisheries policy. Look, this is everything from the guy that lives out in rural Louisiana or the family that just loves the fish and has some 50-year-old bay boat that they love to go out and fish, to the CEOs. I mean, it's the most diverse group of people, and it's just people that have that common love for just getting out in the water and enjoying the bounty of the Gulf of Mexico. It's all the recreational fishers across South Louisiana. So there's they do a banquet all across the state, but the Baton Rouge one is on Thursday night, and you're going to meet some of first of all, they do a great job, but you're going to meet some of the most fun-loving people, and it's so good to see just this really diverse group of people that just have this common thread of just the love for the bounty of the Gulf of Mexico. They want to protect it. They want to make sure that they maintain access to it for generations to come. And you're going to have a super time out there, I promise.
And yeah, it'll be going on tonight. Looking forward to it. Bringing you the Jay Ducote show from out there, and Kevin Ford's Louisiana Outdoor Adventure. CCA Louisiana is. There's raffles. There's, I believe, a live auction. I know there's a silent auction. There's a ton of food and drink. It is a really, really good time. So check out CCA, Coastal Conservation Association of Louisiana. Their Facebook page is pretty comprehensive of what you will see as a representative of the organization as well. We don't have enough time. I was supposed to dive into another topic as well this morning, or for this segment before we get to Patrick Grimmy on. In our next segment, is the next variant of COVID-19 already here? The headline from CNN. CDC investigates new Delta-related coronavirus variant, AY.4.2, which is going to need a sexier name right off the top. But it's been the way with COVID-19. The moment you start to hear any good news at all, you're being prepared for the next bad news. The moment you start to hear things like hospitalizations are dropping, you start to hear bad news. We're going to talk about this a lot more at 7:15. Ask the Governor show was yesterday. Governor John Bell Edwards' call-in show. He does it monthly. And got the question, are we ready to lift the mask mandate? Got a number of other questions, one of which he set the table for a full-on COVID update, and there was a ton of good news within that COVID update. So if we're getting a ton of good news when it comes to the world of COVID-19, of course, the bad news is going to follow almost immediately. We're down to 380 COVID-19 patients in the hospital right now. Yesterday, that number, or before noon yesterday, that number was at 399. And it continues to tick down. And if it continues to tick down at the pace that it's ticking down, by the time the mask mandate expires, the number of COVID patients in the hospital will be lower than it was the last time the governor lifted the mask mandate. But no sooner than you see that, headlines are popping up. Get ready for the next surge. Get ready for the next wave. We're going to talk business with Patty G next. All right, I got to run downstairs to let Patty G in the building. Give me just a second. Go ahead, settle on in. I'll be right back. I got to run down the hall.
It's fine. Do what you gotta do. Doing well, man. How are you?
Just plugging away.
What?
Plugging away.
Plugging away. There you go. It's Thursday, so that's good.
We take those. Friday Eve.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starving.
Smoothies, man.
Yeah.
Gotta get on the smoothie train.
I did for a little bit, and then I never mixed it up, so then I got sick of it. I need to change that. I think I'm going to be going to Government Taco with Jay Parker. I don't know if you know him, but
Yeah.
I haven't been to Government Taco before, so he's like, you have to go.
You haven't been to Government Taco?
I know. Sorry.
My gosh.
I know.
And you work here?
Yes. And
What
I
is
actually
wrong with
I
you?
did the Jada Cody show yesterday,
Dude.
which is even worse.
Come on.
Because I had to tell him myself.
You had to, like, on air, like, get...
Kinda, yeah.
Were you part of his shame segment?
I might as well have been.
Shame! For the new guy not going to Government Taco.
I'm going today, though.
Morning.
And I have no clue what I want to get. But I'm excited. Because he's described some of his tacos, and it sounds like stuff I probably can't say on air, but in a good way.
That's why we're on Facebook Live. I mean, YouTube
actually.
Live. YouTube Live.
You can post the link to Facebook if that makes a difference.
Oh, there you go. the bovine bureaucracy is good. State of the Union's good. I mean, really, you can't go wrong. It's still October, so they still have their Taco of the Month, which is their collaboration with Anthony's Italian Deli. It's
Interesting.
delicious. An Italian taco. So good.
In my opinion, you could put anything on a taco. You could make a breakfast taco, but instead of like a tortilla, well, have a tortilla obviously, but like you could put whatever breakfast you want on that, and I'd still be like, that's a taco.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I hate this. That commercial sucks.
19 parishes are still at the highest level of risk. Ah, lost my place. How are you this morning?
I'm well. How are you?
BRPT, by the way.
Okay. What from Anthony's Italian Deli? Is it a meatball?
It's the Italian sausage.
Okay.
Have you not had it yet?
No.
Dude, it's good. It's very good. Highly recommend it. Wait, you're a lefty too?
Mm-hmm.
How did I not know this?
Oh.
Brian, what would you say is the best taco they have there?
The what?
I'm going there for the first time today. What's
What?
the government taco?
Bovine bureaucracy.
Got it.
And then
It's-
whatever the
that's the
taco of the month is
Okay.
always worth getting.
How much? This could be either of y'all. How many tacos usually like fills you up? Is it like a 1 taco, 3 taco, 4?
Depends on the day. 2.
Probably 3.
How big are the tacos? Like, are they?
They're not big.
Okay.
They're not big.
You want to get at least 2 or 3 for sure.
Okay. I'm excited.
I went on Tuesday after a show, and I think I had 3. So
I'll usually order 3. Like, if I order 2, I'll be fine. Like, I won't be hungry anymore.
Yeah.
But normally, when I look at the menu, I'm like, there's always a
Give me
third
a-
one that I want.
Yeah.
Right. Because, I get a bovine bureaucracy every time through the door, no matter what. Like, I could just be driving up Government Street and just, like, Bovine bureaucracy.
Don't even know what it is. I'm getting it though. Or like what's in it.
Yeah, it's good. And then whatever the taco of the month is always worth getting. And then everybody swears by the Clucks and Balances. It's good.
It's not my favorite, but it's good.
Yeah. It's fried chicken. So
You can make it work though.
yeah, I just on my diet I don't do a whole lot of fried chicken.
That's fair. Patty does not have a show. Have a.
.638 Talk 107.3 FM. WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to welcome in host of the Patty G Show. He is Patrick Grimion. He joins us every Thursday to talk a little business, a little culture, a little social media. What's happening?
Good morning, Brian.
How are you? I'm good. How are you today?
I'm well. Had a bittersweet moment this week.
What?
Recorded the final episode of the season.
Aw.
But, greater things on the horizon the next
It's
in the next
getting to that
couple
point
weeks.
where close the lid on 2021.
Yeah.
Which, not a moment too soon for that. As
Right.
jacked up as this year has been. As jacked up as last year was, this year was equally jacked up.
I think, January 2nd, the meme came out and said, all right, I'm ready for 2022.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's how the year started off.
Pretty much. The 2021 bingo cards have been all over the place.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. And how many people have already filled out or blacked out the entire bingo card?
Yeah, basically.
It's ridiculous.
Aside from, alien contact, I think we've got everything else.
I know. We're getting there.
Another volcano erupting, literally.
There's still a lot more to happen in the year. The show's I'm putting the hat up the show for season 3.
Okay.
And we got a new addition to the household we got to worry about for the rest of the year.
That's right. You sure do.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I recall, last year you closed up shop a little bit later on in the year, so you're mapping out ahead of time.
Yeah, normally I close out the week of Christmas, and I take off the week of Christmas, week of New Year's. But this year we had a good run of guests, and I was like, you know what? I need to take November and December off of the show.
Yes.
And just focus on the house.
Take care of the wee baby.
Exactly.
Awesome. We're going to get back around to the Patty G Show as we close out the segment and maybe give the full rundown of who you've got left for the year, and especially this week's show. Right now, though, I want to focus on something that we've talked about on a number of occasions, and you shared this with me. I'd seen it in the Daily Report already, and I kind of knew you were going to go here for this week. The headline reads, How Baton Rouge Workers Are Balancing Life and Remote Work. Less than 6% of the U.S. population worked primarily from home at least some of the time prior to the pandemic, which in October of 2020 jumped to more than 70% of adults who reported that their work could be done from home, according to Pew Research. They named an entire research firm after the guns in Star Wars. What? Pew, Pew, Pew Research.
Pew Research. That's good. I like that.
Thank you. But boundary setting in a work-from-home world can be incredibly tough. Now, we've talked about this with Haggai Davis a lot, too.
Yeah.
Because it is a technology topic as well.
That's been the conversation topic for 2021.
Yeah. Experts say, especially as connectivity apps like Slack, I hate Slack, and Microsoft Teams, slightly like Teams, which combined for nearly 100 million users in 2020, allow bosses and coworkers to direct message staffers at any time of the day. When work can reach you anywhere, it can feel impossible to ever truly be off the clock. This is something that's not going away anytime soon. And the crazy part about it is I don't see bosses getting it anytime soon.
What do you mean by getting it?
Getting it is in like, I'm at home now. I don't work 24 hours a day. I'm not going to answer your email. I'm not going to answer your text. I'm not going to pick up the Teams call. I just level of expectation from management on down, I think has morphed in a way that's going to have to really be putting the genie back in the bottle with it.
You have to, especially from the employee's standpoint. They go to work and they want to be off of work once they're off of work. When you listen to the show and the guests that we have, they're all entrepreneurs. They all live and breathe their work, their business, their craft 24/7.
Right.
When you get to, should the whole office live and breathe the craft 24/7? Now that's a different set of questions. Mm-hmm. Now you've got people who are used to showing up at 9 and leaving at 5 and really leaving at 5, or whatever time you leave.
But that's what they're compensated for.
And that's what they're paid for.
Right.
Are you paid for the 10 p.m. email that you have to send out?
You are not.
Whenever someone calls you.
Right.
Are you expected to reply to a 10 p.m. email? Now it's, well, if I send it to you, if I mark it urgent, it's urgent.
Right.
But it also begs the question, does this really need to happen right now?
Now, here comes the argument from the boss's side of, you are a salaried employee, not an hourly employee. Therefore, you're never not on the clock.
That is one of the angles to take, but how long then are you going to have salary employees work for you if they know that's your mindset?
Yeah.
If they know your mindset is, oh, no, I'm paying you for 52 weeks a year at your agreed rate. That means I can text you at 5 in the morning, I can text you at 11 o'clock at night, send you an email, and expect to get a response or something of that nature. I don't think that boss is going to have a lot of employees for very long. They're going to get burnt out and not like that culture. And if you're a boss that says, look, at 5 or whatever, hang up your hat and you're actively saying take time off to refresh, rejuvenate yourself, come back in the morning feeling like it's a new day, that is the way that I think these bosses are going to have to handle it.
The lines between work and family have blurred for most workers as technological capabilities have increased, and the pandemic has only hastened the process, according to Gino Howard, a doctoral student in LSU's psychology department who researches the intersection of the two. Quote, I'm constantly pinged, says Logan Leger, founder and CEO of New Aperio, a Baton Rouge company that offers web and mobile app design and development. Quote, it does create the stickiness where I think a lot of other cultures do it better than we do in America, where once you leave the office, you leave the office. And, yeah, other cultures do it better, but they're not superpowers either. We are where we are in America today because of who we are and how we are. We hustle.
100%. You look back to when the first BlackBerry came out and people could get work emails on their phone, and you lose your mind. Means I can work and send an email if I'm sitting on a plane or something. I don't have to have a laptop or plugged in and all this. And now you've got the iPhones or the smartphones that everybody has. Now it's easier than ever to work. I can pull up my iPad and remote into my computer at work. The technology has allowed us to work wherever we are. Fast forward to 2019, 2020, 6% of the population was okay with working from home.
Yes.
And then COVID hit.
Yes.
Then the last 2 years happened that we now know have drastically changed the way we look at technology, the way we look at how to get work done, and the way employers had to look at the way their employees get work done. No more, no, you have to be in the office. You have to be here. But that over time has morphed into, well, the work hours are flexible.
But that's the thing, though. We're seeing, from the business standpoint, we're seeing the take but not the give so far.
Right.
Right? Is there, you could take hours out of the evening, but you're not giving up on the other end as well. You're not having the, you took an 8 p.m. phone call last night and a 10 p.m. text and an 11 p.m. email, but you're still in at 8:30 the next morning. Like, where's the flip side of that? When will we see the ebb and flow of the whole thing?
I think once people get a better grasp of how well, and they're able to measure how productive people were in the off hours, outside of business hours, then they'll have people start saying, okay, now you only need to work whenever the work needs to be done. Meaning, great, you're up at 11 o'clock last night. Don't worry about coming in until 8, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
That probably I don't see happening until they're able to measure how successful those times were. Is it successful? Are you productive at 11 o'clock at night to get your work done? Great. Then don't worry about coming in at 9 the next day.
Then there's a third portion of this, and there's those of us that want all the interaction. We don't really want to clock out, but we have to discipline ourselves. Let's pick it up there when we come back. We got to take a quick break. Hey, don't forget, we're giving away passes, 4 packs of passes to Boo at the Zoo. It's going on this weekend at Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. What do you need to do to enter? Subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's it. I'm picking the winners after the show today. Just subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're already subscribed, you're already in. If not, get in it now. Quick break, checking traffic, checking your money now, then continuing with Patty G next. All right, let's see what we got here. Dwayne says, same thing with schools. Teachers can send work even after school hours. Dwayne, teachers and schools in general are getting worse about over-communicating.
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 Never
Everything.
had a problem with over-communication.
You're being sarcastic. Please tell me you're being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Okay. No, because all the information gets out there, and there's 100 fundraisers and a million things to remember, and you got to pack this, and this for your kids, and it's all urgent.
Oh, yeah, that. Every email is an urgent email.
Yeah.
Gosh.
My stomach's rumbling.
Uh-oh.
Tummy rumbling. I got to be careful with the diet today because I haven't exercised at all this week, and I wasn't expecting to be on the shelf for this long.
When you tore your back muscle.
Yeah, I know.
You kind of need to take that time off.
I know. And I've been constantly, I don't know if it's the muscle relaxers or what, but I've been constantly hungry this week. I'm never hungry on this diet.
That's the
It's
relaxer.
weird.
That's the relaxer.
It's got to be. I've been starving all
That's
week,
the
so I just keep eating.
change in the diet, yeah.
Well, I honestly, what I think it is like curbing the workouts, but I've built myself up to where my metabolism is set for a different caloric intake. Anyway. Troy says we were already in a 24/7 virtually in the office before COVID with smartphones, webmail, VPNs, Zoom. We have been at risk of burnout for a while. Yes, we have, but this has exacerbated it completely. Yeah.
I gotta look at this. Now I gotta look at the bingo card.
I mean, of everything that could have happened in 2021, the only thing that hasn't was Joe Exotic was not paroled.
The Apocalypse bingo card.
Yeah.
Oh, we're looking at different bingo cards.
Beautiful. No, no worries.
COVID lockdown for the entire year. We're pretty close to accomplishing that. The good DC movie releases.
Byron says, I only view salaried exempt versus non-salaried non-exempt with the confines of the Fair Labor Standards Act. It's not about how available they have to be away from work.
Not as much
That's
as
not the norm, though, Byron. Most folks are like, you're on the payroll, and you're not on the clock. And there's no... My wife's work is a good example of it, but I'm not going to dive into that because I don't want to get her in trouble.
And it's I get it from the employer's perspective that it's tough whenever there's so much work to get done and there's a shortage of employees.
Yes.
I get that.
Yes.
You know, having the workload so much more than normal, but fewer
at
people
the
to get it done.
Start with and then we'll move over to the self-discipline after that. But I want to start with that because I want to make a Les Miles reference.
Okay. I'm about it. Yeah, and I'm also taking the next 2 months to vamp up 2022 for the show.
How so?
Get the whole year paid for before we even schedule a guest.
Nice. Cool story, bros, about the launch. I've been talked into changing the spelling of bro from BRO to BREAUX. Search engine SEO standpoint, it'd be the only one versus like half a dozen others.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm torn. 652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. It's overused. Anyway,
Not overused.
it is overused.
No.
Sorry, this was an off-air conversation and it's spilling back on the air.
Location.
I understand. You were making a point off the air. Let's bring that part of the conversation on the air right now. Okay. About you understand it from the employer's standpoint.
So we were talking about, the salaried versus hourly people. The salary people, hey, I pay you year round.
Right.
I expect you to get some work done, even if it's outside of business hours. Some bosses have that mentality. I understand where they're coming from when you've got the labor shortage we have. Mm-hmm. When you've got people who either A, don't show up to work, or B, just don't want to work. And so now you've got to get the same amount of work done with some people half the staff.
Okay, but you're only going to exacerbate that labor shortage if you overwork people. Look at a Les Miles practice versus an Ed Ogeron. I know it's a bad week to talk about an Ed Ogeron practice, but look at a Les Miles practice versus an Ed Ogeron practice. If you're going 3+ hours of big cat drill, heavy pads, heavy hitting, you're going to have a bunch of guys on the sidelines, a bunch of guys on stationary bikes midway through the SEC season. Whereas if you're going lighter, if there's flex time, if you stay up late one night, you get to sleep in the next morning, you stay fresher by the time Alabama rolls around the first weekend in November.
Look, I didn't say I agree with it. I said I understand it.
Okay.
But yes, now they have to figure out, okay, we cannot keep this up. You can't keep it up. You cannot keep this mentality up of overworking, get the work done regardless of the day or the hour.
One of the things a lot of us have been trying to do since the beginning of the pandemic has been running a marathon at a sprinter's pace.
Yeah. And
you get tired.
You get tired, and I think that plays out in what it is now.
Absolutely.
You've got people in some different workplaces that had texted their boss, or the boss has texted them, hey, I need you to come in tomorrow morning. I was off. I made plans. I can't come in tomorrow. Okay, well, if you don't come in tomorrow, we're going to have a conversation on Monday. Great, no problem. I'm done. I'll go find another place to work.
Right.
They're at that point.
There's thousands of people hiring right now. Brack.org. You can /recovery. You can find job listings there as well.
Yeah, you can go to the person next door and get a job.
Right.
You don't have to look very far, whereas 19 may have been a little bit of a different story.
And now is the time to do that because the compensation packages are sweeter.
Yeah.
But what do you do about those of us with the inner Gary V? Those of us who just want to hustle and know we're setting ourselves up to be more tired further down the road, to be more burned out further down the road, but we don't care. We're going to run a marathon at a sprinter's pace until we collapse.
For that, if you're the employee, and if you're the employee, keep doing that. If you're the boss, recognize that, but don't hold every employee to that same standard. You can't. Mm-hmm. You can't hold, if you've got 6 Gary V's, but you have 10 people who love to do 9 to 5 and be
Peter
out.
Gibbons, yeah.
Yeah, then just let them roll. Do not, and then at the performance reviews, if they have annual reviews or quarterly or however often you review with your employees, don't sit there and say, well, Gary over here, he's busting his butt and he's working 12-hour days. You're here only getting 8 hours done.
Right.
Because they're each at a separate level of happiness based on the work that they're doing. You don't want to compromise that.
If you are the boss, though, do you have to put the reins on the Gary V in order to keep him from resenting the rest of the employees?
I think you have to have an open discussion with him.
One morning you're going to wake up and say, why the hell am I busting my butt so hard? Because nobody else is.
As the employer, you have to recognize that and make sure you let them know you see it. If you're my Gary and you're working for me, I'm having a conversation with you at least once a week, if not every other week, saying, hey, man, you're killing it. I know everybody else not doing the same level, but don't you worry. Your compensation, your perks, your packages are going to reflect what the workload that you're doing.
Yeah.
That's where you have to get creative with it. You can't just say, oh, sorry, man, they all want to work 8 hours. You want to work 10. I don't know what I'm going to tell you.
Stop
y'all
working so hard.
Y'all going to get paid the same amount.
Stop working so hard.
Yeah.
It is. It's not even a cycle. It's like a drain. Like the more you start circling the drain, you start circling the drain, the harder it is to pull yourself out of that whirlpool.
And I think we're getting close to that bottom of the tub where it starts to form a perfect cyclone.
Yeah. We were supposed to talk about the Baton Rouge Gallery partnering up with the airport. We're not We're going to move on. Patty G Show, what's coming up this week, and then set the table for the rest of the year?
This week we have Daniel Williams of Integrity Productions. It's a cinematography, photography, and videography company. Basically, you come to him with a vision, and he brings it to life for you. He's local here in Baton Rouge. There's a lot of drone videos, and he's got a really funny story we talk about on the show about his first drone experience. It involves a drone and a high-speed police boat. And
Ooh.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Start to set the table for the rest of the year. We'll, of course, revisit this every week, but for the rest of the year, who you got?
So the rest of the year, we have our final in-person episode we recorded on Tuesday. We got the team at Dudley DeBosier. We've got Chad, Steve, and
cool.
James. They were a blast to have on the show to hear about their story. And then after that, come November, and that's going to get us through the end of
How
October.
deep into the origin story do they get?
As deep as camera provable.
Mm.
So
Okay.
then, and they got into it, and we talked about some great things and the lessons that they've learned and how they all three got together. It's a really unique story.
Yeah.
I'm sure we avoided some hiccups and road bumps along the way, but the general story is there. So that'll bring us through October. November and December, I've got, Le Bebe coming in.
Yes.
And so what I'm going to do is flashback Fridays with past guests.
Nice.
So we're just going to do like Zoom calls or maybe even a coffee that we just film where we just catch up. It's 15, 20 minutes. Hey, how's the past year, 2 years been since you were on the show?
Nice.
Any new developments?
Yeah.
Great. Just to kind of keep content rolling throughout the year and not recording the full shows like we normally do.
Right.
But also spending a lot of time behind the camera vamping up 2022 and coming in strong in January.
Looking forward to it. You can get the Patty G Show anywhere you get podcasts, really.
Yeah.
And, of course, Saturday nights and the Saturdays on Demand lineup right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Hey, when you hit paternity leave, you going to be rolling in for this segment still, or you want to chill?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll still-
it's cool
I'll-
to chill if you want.
I'll let you know. I'll let you
Okay.
know.
I mean, we'll do at least a couple weeks where
Yeah.
it's nothing but the house.
That's right.
So.
And then one time I'll just bring the kid in with me.
Dude, you better. I mean, otherwise,
Charlotte would like that.
baby's on TV,
That's right.
It's good for the clicks.
I'll bring it here so you can sign and kiss the baby.
Exactly. Hey, Ask the Governor was yesterday. We've got a ton of audio from that coming up in our next hour. Crimestoppers next hour as well. Right now, though, let's get you to the CBS World News Roundup right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Appreciate you, Patty.
Thank you, Brian.
All right. Galen says, FLSA is a joke. Try being an exempt worker that consistently works less than 40 hours per week. It's really become a differentiator between overtime compensation or not. I know. If I say this out loud, and I'm not complaining about it because I do it voluntarily. I do it of my own volition. I know what it, if I were to break down my hourly, I mean, I'm probably less than minimum wage. Yeah.
That's just how many hours you work.
Do I?
So it's just how many hours you
I
work.
know.
It's crazy.
I know. It's in the way it plays out. It also has to do with how to pay for less than a full day's work. Can't dock an exempt employee for working less than half a day. But you should, see, it's just a bad example. So what do we do if we are civil servants? You actually have a lot of benefits in that you can clock out, can't you? Byron says baby gap vests.
Oh, for sure. Byron,
All right.
I wore my vest Monday and Tuesday, I'll have you know. It was that good of a day.
Baton Rouge Gallery partners with BTR to showcase local artist work at the airport. When you sent this over, did you really give a shit about it, or were you just looking to fill time?
So I saw it. Two lines of thought happened whenever I saw it. I was like, okay, this is a time filler, A.
Okay, be honest. There you go.
I'm honest. But B, I'm like, this is also, you can take it from the culture perspective of, we talk about how to retain and get people here. If you don't have a pretty front door, people aren't going to want to come in your house.
There is only one airport in America where I can comment on the artwork, and it's an airport that I've never been to.
Really?
Denver. And the only reason for that, and look this up on YouTube if you want to go down a rabbit hole that's going to eat up a day and a half of your life. Denver Airport, artwork, Illuminati.
I've been to that airport. It is fascinating.
So is this Baton Rouge's attempt to start not the Illuminati direction, or maybe, to start going down that path, of how do we become a more vibrant airport?
No.
Or is it just a publicity move?
Okay. What was the last airport you were at?
The last airport I was at was New Orleans. The new one.
Did you like the artwork there?
I didn't really pay attention to it.
What was the airport you were at before that?
Baton Rouge.
Well, they didn't have the artwork
Well,
yet.
no, I flew from New Orleans to Nashville. To the Nashville airport.
Okay. How's the artwork there?
They actually had a lot.
Did they know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they didn't have like a lot of like specific artwork, but like they had like, you know.
Of every
Murals
airport
and
I've
such
ever
and
been in,
pictures.
I could not tell you a single piece of art that's in there. I could tell you where there's a Buffalo Wild Wings. I could tell you where, like
Jake, what you doing?
where there's a newsstand, if you will.
I guess like where the bars are for
Yeah.
sure. Where to get a good cold drink.
Yeah, exactly. Watch this. I'm even getting up.
Dude, how's it back? Hang on. How's it back? You going to see somebody? You going to BRPT? What are you doing?
I went and saw.
Why don't you wear a freaking 4-hour walk on it? Let's get it done.
No, I'm not George Jefferson. No, I'm not Tom Willis.
Hey, G, what's up, dude?
Not a whole lot, man. What's going on with you?
I know I'm not embarrassed myself. The hell, I do that every day for a living. What's your real name?
Patrick Grimion.
Okay, I thought that was it. When I said Patty G, I just want to butcher it.
Yeah.
You good?
Million.
I'm great.
What you got going on down the hall?
I wrote a poem about Biden. Pretty good stuff. I'm trying to think. Shit. Oh, yeah, this whole bit. Then you got COVID 1, then you got COVID 2, then you got booster shots, then you got kids. Now, you can just combine them all. It's like a COVID-19 gumbo. It's like going to Louis. Whatever you want in your omelet. The hell is all this shit? They don't know. They have no clue. More people like me who believe in natural immunity are looking better every day. Now you can mix it. Go Pfizer, go Moderna, Johnson & Johnson. B, what's next? It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Now you got all these people getting both COVID shots and a booster, and they die. They have no clue. And you know what I'm going to play at the end to Fauci and Biden? They're coming to take me away. Ha ha, ho ho, ho ho. It's in a funny form. B, you can say whatever you want. God bless everybody who got their little booster shot. Happy for you. COVID 1, COVID 2. They don't have any freaking clue. Zero. And you know that. You sitting there watching a game, right, on a weekend. What do you see? Here comes a pharmaceutical commercial. Could cause depression, could cause thoughts of suicide, could cause diarrhea, could cause you see spiders doing cocaine in your head. And that's FDA approved. And what? A month ago the FDA approved it? Hell no. I guarantee you, people who took the shot, you watch. A year from now, 2 years from now, if you took the COVID shot, that shit's coming, dude.
I'm working on something for tomorrow about all the people that are like, they're so up in arms about the people who avoid the vaccine because they say, the reason we don't have polio today is because of the vaccine. Has anybody ever looked up, have you looked up the polio vaccine timeline and the Cutter incident?
Things right now. Trying to get T-Bob to get me in that Dungeons and Dragons podcast. I got shit going on, dude. I can't be worried about
When are we podcasting?
Dude, you and I would have the best podcast in the world, besides Patty G. We would.
When do you
Patty
want to
G
start?
needs you and I to be guests on his podcast.
I've been a guest on his podcast. When are you
Patty
going to
G,
do it?
You to be one.
Do I offend you?
No.
Dude, let me know. We're going to have fun now.
Next year.
I'm going to sit up
you
the
wanna-
soldiers.
do you
Green
wanna open
and
it
a
up?
gray. You and I will throw a sock at each one of them.
Do you
Do what?
want to open up the year?
I don't think I missed one last hour, did I? BRPT?
We good?
We good.
Yes.
I got it
All
right
right,
here.
B, have a good one.
You
Thank
too,
Have a
Rich.
good weekend.
See ya.
Later, bro.
Later.
Thank you.
Be good. I'll see you next
When does baby get here?
November 19th.
Okay.
No, that's the due date.
Yeah.
She's going to go early or whatnot.
706 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. A couple of comments from YouTube, wrapping up what Patty G and I were talking about in the last hour. Clinton says, sorry, not Clinton's. Where was it? Eric says some companies just bump the bonuses higher for salary. That's probably where this conversation is going to go. By the way, if you're just now tuning in, we were talking in our last hour about not being able to clock out. And those who don't clock out of their own volition, not because the boss is riding you, just because when there's work to be done, you do work. Bonuses are probably going to be where it's at in the very near future because there's no way to pace that out. There's no way to say you're going to run this marathon at a sprinter's pace for the rest of your life. So you can't adjust the salary accordingly based off of short-term results. But bonuses would definitely be in that number. Now, during the break, we were talking about the artwork at the Baton Rouge airport, and I really thought we were going to garner more comments on the YouTube chat about that because, well, there's a story in the business report about the Baton Rouge Gallery teaming up with the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport, and my take was, when was the last time you looked at artwork in the airport, aside from Denver? But that's Illuminati. So, coming up this hour, we got a ton of audio from Ask the Governor yesterday, Governor John Bel Edwards' monthly call-in show. We'll break that down for you in the next segment. We got Crimestoppers coming up before the end of the hour. We got top stories and trending coming your way in just a minute. I do have to tell you about the folks over at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. All right. If you are dealing with a nagging injury, just the little tweak, the pain that keeps you from being your best you on a daily basis, have you thought about physical therapy? I know most of us we just learn to live with it, right? But have you thought about physical therapy? Have you thought about working your way through it? You know, the folks at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy with 6 locations throughout the greater Baton Rouge area, they've been at this for 60 years now. They'll sit you down. They'll talk to you about what it is that's ailing you and your comfort level with treating it. Visit brptlake.com, brptlake.com, or call for a free screening. It costs you nothing to just find out. 917-9185. 917-9185. Get a complimentary screening at any of the BRPT locations. Get back to being your best you. Think physical therapy with brptlake.com. Time for top stories and trending. Let's get it. Ace Baton Rouge has opened a phone line for businesses that might have been disrupted by, or might be disrupted by several projects getting underway in the capital area. The city parish said the Move BR rapid response team will handle calls from local businesses impacted by projects that are part of the roads program. Mayor's office said the phone number for the hotline is being distributed to those businesses prior to construction, so that hotline is not yet available. After substantial power outages during Hurricane Ida, Entergy is starting a new project to upgrade the power grid in parts of Baton Rouge. The project will take up a 3-mile stretch of Highland Road between Bluebonnet and Pico. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. It gets underway today. Crews were actually out trimming trees yesterday so that linemen could come in now and begin working on improvements to the system. Quote, I think it's a necessary evil. With any kind of technology, I'm sure they have to upgrade, especially with the recent hurricane, homeowner Sandeep Chadha said. He lives nearby, says the improvements are needed to help prevent outages in the area. Entergy is replacing about 130 utility poles. This project is going to be going on for about the next month and a half before they get it done. A troubled contractor featured in multiple investigative unit reports with our news partners at WBRZ has a warrant out for his arrest after he missed a court date related to his drunk driving arrest. A bench warrant was filed this week after he failed to show up in court for the DWI arrest that happened back in July. At the time, police said they found, this is the Sills. We've talked about him on numerous occasions before. He's failed multiple sobriety tests, refused a breathalyzer, prompting deputies to obtain a warrant for a blood sample. He had sued the state licensing board for contractors over the summer after they revoked his contracting license. He is also wrapped up in litigation over accusations that his company failed to pay his employees medical premiums. Back to a little bit of communication infrastructure. After several AT&T customers lost service during Hurricane Ida, a representative from the company told public service commissioners they are asking customers to call them to report outages so that they can issue credits. However, Eric Scrimmetta with the PSC said AT&T should be more proactive instead. Quote, when they're in St. Charles Parish and they say we were out 10 days, well, why do we have to even have them call you? Because you know they were out. Now, Stephanie Dwaron with AT&T told commissioners determining who was with and without service after Ida made landfall isn't that easy because of the multiple services they provide, like cable, internet, and phone service. Quote, not all customers were affected equally. Not all had an interruption of service, and that's why we're asking our customers to call us so that we can provide credits along the way. Not the ideal solution, but it's better than nothing. Investigators believe a woman drove from Monroe to Baton Rouge to pick up her boyfriend after he and 4 others escaped juvenile jail late last week. 18-year-old Malik Williams and the other 4 inmates that escaped the East Baton Rouge Juvenile Detention Center on October 14th after they allegedly attacked 3 guards using a shank late that night. The other 4 teens were captured during the overnight manhunt, but Williams, however, remains on the run. This is as of yesterday. Actually, as of this morning. We don't have an update there. On Tuesday, police filed an arrest warrant for Williams' girlfriend, 20-year-old Shamika Holloman. One of the escapees told officers that Holloman, who lives in the Monroe area, drove to Baton Rouge on the night of the jailbreak to give Williams a ride. When contacted by police, Holloman claims she was in Monroe all week, never drove down to Baton Rouge. However, phone records show she left Monroe around 10 p.m. on the night of Williams' escape, and her cell signal was pinging off cell towers in the area as late as 1 in the morning. Those are your top stories. Taking a look at what's trending. Oh, I love this story. Oh, I love this story. Oh, wait, Taco Bell's got free burritos this morning, but that's not the trending story. Headline. In a significant medical breakthrough, a pig kidney is successfully transplanted into a human. I said all those words correctly. Dr. Robert Montgomery and a team at NYU's Langone Health temporarily attached a pig kidney to a brain-dead woman. This was dated on September 25th of 2021. Fast forward to now. In a noteworthy step towards the goal of eventually using animal organs in medically necessary transplants, a doctor and his team successfully surgically attached a pig's kidney to a human on a temporary basis. Back on September 25th, a New York transplant surgeon named Robert Montgomery and his team at NYU conducted a successful surgery that transplanted the pig's kidney into a brain-dead human. But, as such studies have been carried out, a sugar called alpha-gal, which is found within pig cells, presented a major hurdle. Because alpha-gal is foreign to humans, when a human candidate receives an organ transplant from a pig, the presence of the sugar triggers an organ rejection in the human patient. Dr. Montgomery may have figured this one out. He and his team of researchers believe they discovered a way around this dilemma. According to the Living Kidney Donor Network, couldn't be a moment too soon. Currently, over 93,000 people are on the transplant kidney waiting list. Question. If you get a kidney transplant and you get a pig's kidney, then you now have a pig inside of you as part of your body, and then you eat bacon. Does that make you a cannibal? There's your top stories in trending. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, Ask the Governor was yesterday. So much to unpack from it. Will the mask mandate end after next Wednesday? We'll dive into that a little bit more next on Talk 107.3. You said complete collision? Yeah. I did BRPT. Yes. Eric says Denver Airport has the longest TSA wait ever. That's because of the underground bunkers. They've got to protect the Denver Airport because that's where everyone's going when the world ends before the New World Order takes over. God, watch some YouTube. Do they have that at the Denver Airport? All right, we're going to go cut 3-5. I wrote it down wrong. It's 3-5-2-1. Yeah. 4, 6, and 7 are probably going to be tomorrow. I'm working on something for that. 718, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Yesterday was Ask the Governor. Ask the Governor is a monthly call-in show where, well, folks from around the state call in and get direct access to Governor John Bel Edwards. I love the show. I love the concept. I love the fact that he does it. If for no other reason, you never know where the questions are coming from. They could be the most pertinent questions about the current pandemic, economic development, what's on the ballot this November, or it could just be a crazy person who calls the station regularly to rant and rave and never gets a question out of his mouth. Regardless, every third Wednesday of the month at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll hear Ask the Governor right here on Talk 107.3. That included yesterday. Governor John Bel Edwards, this wasn't in response to a question. The show's moderated by Jim Inkster, who does a phenomenal job of moderating the show and keeping the reins on when the callers kind of leave the rails. But teed the governor up, I should say, to give us a COVID update. It's cut 3, if you would, Jake. Here's the governor talking about where we are right now versus where we were very recently when it comes to COVID-19.
Well, certainly things are much better than they were several weeks ago when we were in the midst of the fourth surge, the Delta surge, which was by far the worst ever. And I'm very thankful for that. Our positivity rate for tests currently in Louisiana is a little less than 3%. It had gotten over 16% at the peak. We had over 3,000 people in the hospital at one time. Today, that number is down to 380. So we are very close to the baseline COVID numbers in terms of cases and positivity, hospitalizations, where we were before the fourth surge started, which is very gratifying because at one time we had more than 900 people per 100,000 contracting COVID over a 7-day period. And that was an astronomical number and was one that really caused a big problem with respect to our health capacity at our hospitals, for example. So yes, we are doing better. We do need more people to be vaccinated. A little more than 50% of our state has received the first dose, and the older the age group, the more likely that those people have been vaccinated, which is very important. But COVID is going to be with us for a while, and it's going to circulate primarily among the unvaccinated. Today, 83% of our cases that we reported, and we reported 495 of them, were unvaccinated. Today, out of that 380 people in the hospital, 83% of them are unvaccinated, and about 3/4 of all of the deaths in Louisiana from COVID-19 are unvaccinated. So I'm encouraging people to be vaccinated and to get boosted when you're able.
No, on the boosted. Not till you pay me. I learned my lesson the first time. When I got vaccinated, I was very dutiful. I was a responsible citizen. I got in line early, got my vaccine, got my vaccination card. In fact, here it is right here. Got it right here. I carry it with me. Well, I don't carry it with me. It's in my little folder for my show, so I can hold it up to the camera as a prop whenever I feel like it. But I got in line early for the vaccine. You want me in line for the booster? No. I saw what happened last time. Those who held out got paid. I'm going to hold out and get paid for a booster. Kidding aside, getting back to the actual COVID stuff. Everything he laid out right there is spelling out towards we very well could see an end to the mask mandate a week from yesterday. Positivity rates are down. Hospitalizations are down. New deaths, while still too high, and they always will be too high until we have 0, are down. Vaccinations are up. Not to a level where anyone feels comfortable with it, but they're nonetheless up. The part he didn't talk about is the waning participation in the mandate itself. We'll get into that in a minute. Actually, we'll get into that right now. Call came in from a man named John in Jefferson. John in Jefferson wanted to know specifically about the mandate being kept around, mask mandate being kept around in schools. Here is both question and answer from John in Jefferson.
I know on the 27th, I think you're going to be coming out with a new mandate or whatever concerning COVID and requirements. Are you going to extend the mask for K through 12 in schools? It's just kind of hard to justify seeing 100,000 screaming, drunk Tiger fans 1 foot from each other on Saturday night, and then having our kids wear a mask on Monday morning.
Well, John, it's a good question. It's just a little premature. I received my first briefing today about what the current situation is relative to the decision next week on what we keep in place and what we lift. But I will tell you there is a tremendous difference between an indoor setting and an outdoor setting. And Tiger Stadium, as you know, is outdoors. Schools are obviously indoors, and the vast majority of people there, not only are they unvaccinated, they can't be vaccinated. It's not available to them yet. And that makes a big difference in our analysis. Secondly, we know that there are at least as many parents who want masking in schools, or at least they have in the past, in order to feel comfortable enough to send their kids to school, as there are parents who would rather there not be masks. But if you want fewer interruptions in school and more kids in class for longer, then you've got to make sure that you don't have outbreaks. And the current CDC guidelines say that if 2 students are in close proximity to one another, but they're masked, then that's not a close contact, and they don't have to quarantine when one of those students tests positive. And so you have a lot less disruption to education if you do that. But even, and I haven't made a decision yet, but even if I were to lift a mask mandate, the school districts would have the option, if they wanted to keep those in place.
Okay. Am I reading too much into it? When he says what we keep and what we lift, which would suggest to me that something's going to be lifted? The schools would have the option to keep a mandate in place. You break it down district by district. The same way Dr. Cade Brumley gave them the option to opt out of the quarantining, which the governor in his show yesterday said he felt that was a mistake. He didn't know what science it was based off of. I don't know what science it's based off of to remove close contact from 6 feet down to 3. Yeah, 3 feet's fine as long as we're both masked. Well, a week ago it was 6. Tomorrow's going to be 1.5 feet. Anyway, the science is constantly changing. But when he says what we keep and what we lift, which suggests to me that we're going to see something a little bit different on Wednesday. It's not just going to be a re-upping of the same mandate. It's not just going to be, and I don't know how it's going to fall out, especially not with news coming out about, another variant on its way. But when you look at where the numbers have gone over the last month, the governor would be hard-pressed to make an argument that we're not. He said it in that first soundbite. We're in a much better place right now. 380 COVID-19 patients are in the hospital. That's down from 399 the day before. That's down from 3,022 on August 17th. 502 new cases yesterday. 36 new deaths reported yesterday. And Troy says on YouTube, until we have 0 deaths, is that the goal? 0 deaths is the goal overall for everything, yes, but not the goal before you remove the mask mandate. You can't prevent death overall. But yeah, you would like to see that number get down to 0. The fact that it's down to 36 when we were in triple digits just a couple weeks ago is encouraging. The number of patients in the hospital is only one factor that's being looked at. What about percent positivity? Or more to the point, community risk by parish. This is, if you go to LDH's dashboard, ldh.la.gov/coronavirus. If you go to the dashboard, the very first map that pops up is community risk by parish. The fact that they put it first tells me that they have some level of importance to this one. About 4 weeks ago, the entire state, all 64 parishes were in the red. The red is the highest level of risk. After that, there's some kind of, I'll call it salmon, orangish, pinkish color. That's a high level of risk. After that, there is kind of a yellowy beige color. That's moderate, and then blue is lower. 4 weeks ago, it was all red. Then you saw a couple pop up in that salmon color. And then as of last week, it was up to 27 were salmon and 2 were yellow, meaning moderate. Well, as of yesterday, It's to the point now where I stopped counting the ones that are in salmon and started counting the ones that are in red because it's a smaller number. Only 19 out of the state's 64 parishes remain at the highest level of risk right now. 19 out of 64 remaining at the highest level of risk. And it's worth noting that one of them was at a moderate level of risk a week ago, and it bumped right back up to highest, meaning your sample size is too small. It's going to be erratic. You're going to have one case trigger the whole thing. So of the 64 parishes, only 19 are at the highest level of risk. 8 parishes have gotten all the way down to moderate. I think we're at a point right now where we're going to see some level of movement on Wednesday of next week. What that level of movement is, I don't know. And the part that we haven't talked about yet, and I've talked about it before, though, is the level of participation at this time. Like the caller said, you see a Tiger Stadium full of people not wearing a mask. You're hard-pressed to convince anybody that classrooms can have it. You'll see front offices in schools where none of the administration's wearing a mask, but you go down the hall and the kids and the teachers have to. You're seeing people walk into the grocery stores, into banks, into post offices, into you name it. And the level of participation continues to wane. If you keep your foot on the gas as far as a mask mandate is concerned, that level of participation is going to continue to drop. And the next time we really need it, the sense of urgency is not going to be there. And I know there's no way to quantify that and make it one of the gating criteria, but the governor's got to keep that in mind. You're going to get to a point where people are just going to stop listening. We're in a good spot right now, a much better spot than we were a month ago. Take your foot off the gas now so that the next time you ask, someone still listens. Ooh, so much more to break down. We might get back into it in our last segment. We got Crimestoppers coming your way in our next segment. CBS News coming your way in just a minute. Got to tell you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. They've got 2 locations, 19511 Plank Road in Zachary or 9848 Perkins Road here in Baton Rouge that is just east of Bluebonnet Boulevard. To get to either location, call 768-9898. 768-9898. You need to know where you're going with your vehicle before you even get into an accident. You don't want to end up where your insurance company sends you. That's where they've got a deal hammered out. You want to go where you know your car is going to be repaired the right way. Your family will get back on the road safely. Not just cheaply, safely. CompleteCollision.com. Learn more about their certifications. Learn about the iCar Gold Class certification at CompleteCollisionCenter.com. And put the number in your phone now, 768-9898. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out Complete Collision. All right. What's happening, y'all? Doing all right. How are you?
What's wrong with you? You good?
Pulled a muscle in my back Sunday night. Yeah, it actually was.
Buddy, see? Good. It's Brian.
Hey, Brian.
How you doing?
Pleasure to meet you, Brian Singleton, DE.
Brian.
Hey.
Yes. Randy Harness. How you doing, man?
Good to meet you.
So what?
Brian Singleton?
Yes, Brian Singleton, B-R-Y-A-N.
DEA, you said?
DEA, right. Drug Enforcement Administration.
Mm-hmm. And it was Randy Harness. Title?
Group supervisor. We're both special agents. Yes.
Okay. Okay. You're both with DEA?
Yep. Yes.
Somebody drug take back this Saturday.
Yes.
What did you do in squatting, deadlifting? What happened?
All right. So here's the full story. I work out at Planet Fitness, right? They have all their weights are on Smith machines. So that rack, so you can't. You're never engaged in your core. You're just lifting.
Right.
So my daughter, who's a freshman at St. Joseph's Academy, has joined the powerlifting team. I couldn't be more proud. I think it's fantastic. Right. It's deadlift, squat, and bench. Right. I learned how to lift weights as a football player, not as a weightlifter. Right. I learned how to lift weights, so it applies. Yeah. There is a huge difference. So my cousin, who owns a gym in New Orleans, is certified in all this stuff. So we went down there Sunday night, so he could her first practice was Monday. So he could teach her proper techniques so that I'm not screwing her up. I'm not creating bad habits from the start, and she'd get a little jump on the rest of the team.
Very smart.
So, yes. So while we're down there, I'm like, I'm curious to see what I can lift without the Smith machine and all that other good stuff. Started with squat, 225, no problem.
That's good, man.
255, no problem. 275, the lift had no problem at all. I know I can get more. But I had this slight little roll as I was coming up with it and just felt the pop.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been on the shelf all week long.
Yeah, one G and then one.
Yeah.
Idiots might work that out.
I got something called.
Hey, you have
I got something
some
called methocarbamol. It's a muscle relaxer that doesn't leave me all punchy.
Okay.
So.
Couple of drug tape banks, BRPD's location has well exceeded the rest, so we hope to keep that up.
I mean, the location is phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
Like compared to where you were in.
Alright, everybody, sit cheers.
Oh.
Taking a picture. 1, 2, 3.
Wait, you wouldn't do it with my logo on the back instead of Baton Rouge Physical Therapy? Don't need the billboard. It'll rotate through. There it is. All right. There you go.
Thank you. Y'all gonna love this Crimestoppers intro they did.
Okay.
They did a real good job.
Good. So, Don, where's the main location here? You saying got there real well.
9,000 airline.
9,000 airline, BRPD headquarters.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Corner airline in Goodwood.
Yep.
And I'm not talking bad about the other, but we lose. It's like they're really responsive and
So, Don, you have them roll in there?
They roll in. It's like a drive.
You don't get into the parking lot where we had the National Night Out Against Crime. They don't go there.
No, it's right under the awning.
Yeah.
From the front doors.
Yeah, you just come in there and keep going.
Now we've had that because of COVID. Usually they go into the parking lot for that night out, but because of COVID they just roll in and drive through and then push the bags, take it out, and good to go.
I'm usually on Burbank, Gardner.
That's a good one. I know Women's Hospital down there line, the new Women's Hospital. Baker, I think, has it. They're all over, but the main collection is BRPD.
Yeah. Yep.
It's also very centralized.
No, it is, but it's because it's BRPD.
When y'all were on Mayflower, it's like, who's going down there?
Well,
Yes, it is time for Crimestoppers, and it's time to welcome in the DEA. Absolutely. Brian Singleton and Randy Harness. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you today?
Good morning. Great.
Morning.
Glad to have y'all on this morning. Glad to be talking about this. There's a drug take-back program coming back, or drug take-back event, I should say, coming up in the very near future. Brian, let's start with you. Give us the details on when it is, where it is, and how folks can participate.
Yes, sir. I want to thank you guys for having us this morning. So drug take-back is going to be this Saturday from 10 to 2 p.m. The locations are all over Baton Rouge. You can research those locations at www.deatakeback.com to research the location that may be closest to you. A little bit about drug take back. This is our 21st edition, if you will, of drug take back, and that's designed to help the public dispose of unused, old medication they may have, and in a proper way, so we can dispose of them in a proper way.
Right.
And in doing that, we try to prevent those unused medications to get into the wrong hands. That's our main point.
Let's cut right to the chase. What kind of medications are we talking about?
We're talking about tablets, capsules, pills. In particular, obviously, we're in an opioid crisis.
Yes.
And so, if you have some unused opioids that perhaps you're not using anymore, please bring those to us. Drop it off. Put it in a plain, simple bag. Walmart bag is fine, and bring it to us and drop it off so we can properly dispose of them.
Why is it important that people properly dispose of the drugs that their prescription ran out, or they don't need them anymore, so they're just sitting in the medicine cabinet? Why is it important that they don't leave them sitting in the medicine cabinet?
Well, Brian, we found that people that, as you well know, we're in a public health crisis. So if somebody's possibly addicted to an opioid, they very well may be going to different families' houses or a friend's house and rummaging through the medicine cabinet or wherever they keep their prescription drugs, looking for these opioids.
Right.
Yes.
Now, to broaden this out a little bit, and the opioid crisis that we're in right now, this is just as much for those who aren't addicted yet as it is those who are. I mean, because it seems that the more awareness we bring to the opioid crisis, the worse it continues to get. But it has shifted away from like the hydrocodone or the oxycodone that should be prescribed to pure poison and fentanyl. But it starts back in the medicine cabinets, which is the genesis of this. Outside of opioids, are other drugs taken in as well?
Yes. So we're talking about anything you may have. It doesn't just have to be opioids. If it's in a capsule, a pill, anything like that. We even take in vape cartridges.
Really?
Long as you take the lithium battery out of it, we'll take those out. Now, we're not taking any type of syringes or any type of, I guess those I say syringes, but sticks, needles.
Yeah.
We're not taking any of those.
Okay.
Right? But we take any type of pills. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's old aspirin, anything the doctor may have given you that is unused, you're not using anymore, we're taking properly dispose of it.
Let's talk procedure a little bit. When the folks come out, what can they expect to see? What will they do when they get there? And, how does it work?
It's simple. It's an anonymous program. All they do is drive up, walk up, drop off any pills that they may have, and that is pretty much it. We make it as easy as it can be, so the public can come out at any time at their will during those hours between 10 and 2 on October 23rd.
If, let's say I've got a prescription, and let's just say there's a prescription for hydrocodone in the cabinet. I'm not using it anymore. I didn't need it anymore after, I got into had an injury, had a little pain, eased the pain went away, had some pills left, leave it in the cabinet. Why wouldn't I keep those in the pills in the cabinet for the next time I get hurt?
Well, Brian, it's simple. Most of the addictions start at the home in those medicine cabinets. So that's why we want to entice people to come out, drop those prescriptions off. I mean, last year we had 93,000 people who died from drug overdoses.
And this year's going to break that record.
That's right. 75% of those were opioid related. So we have a problem here, and we want to encourage people to take those medicines out of the closet, out of the cabinets rather, and bring them to us so that we can dispose of them properly.
What kind of numbers do y'all see on average? I mean, do y'all have results from the last one? How many drugs were taken back, and of what kind?
Yes. So in April, so take back is done in April and October of each year. We do it twice a year. Last year, in April, we collected roughly around Louisiana, roughly 45,000 pounds. Around I say not in just New Orleans, but the DA New Orleans Field Division, which covers Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi. So the total amount was about 45,000 pounds. Altogether, since we've been doing drug take-back in DEA, we've collected roughly about 7,000 tons.
Wow.
Of unused medications and disposed of.
Now, think about that in terms of how much does each pill weigh? I mean, how many pills would equal a pound? A couple hundred, I would imagine.
That's
so 45,000 pounds, that's a lot of pills.
Exactly.
That's a lot of pills.
Exactly.
One thing I want to touch on before we move on and to tell some individual stories. As medicinal marijuana continues to enter the market and broaden in use, have y'all seen a return of marijuana as part of the drug take-back program?
No, we haven't seen that. Well, the problems with marijuana overall is that people who sell, drug dealers who sell marijuana on the street often lace marijuana with, foreign substances, sometimes fentanyl, and sometimes this marijuana can have lethal doses in them. I mean, you only need 2 milligrams.
Well, I'm talking about from a legal perspective, though. Let's say Grandma had cancer, Grandma had a prescription, Grandma passes. Then what? Do y'all accept that as it comes in?
No, it wouldn't. If it's for medicinal purposes, we may take it because if it's in a pill form.
Right.
But if it's in a leafy form, it's illegal. No, we're not taking any type of illegal drugs.
Okay.
Okay.
Important clarification.
Yes.
Now, what does following along that same path? What are some of the stranger things that people have brought in the past?
I would say syringes.
Okay.
Sometimes people often bring in syringes. They'll bring in liquids, and we're not allowed to take those types of substances. So those are the more stranger things. But outside of that, it's been a pretty good program with no problems.
And the main thing, Brian, is also when you come to one of the sites, if somebody in your listening audience has a question, we have DEA personnel on hand to be able to answer those questions and or put them in touch with somebody that maybe can help them.
Example, you're talking about somebody seeking help for addiction or just
treatment,
in general?
prevention.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Hey, let's talk about disposal for just a minute because I've been told in the past you can't just flush them down the toilet. What happens when it comes to disposal? How do y'all handle that?
So what we'll do is we'll collect all the pills from around the field division, or just say in Baton Rouge, Baton Rouge. We'll collect them all from all the different sites to include, the main one we're talking about is at Baton Rouge PD, 9000 Airline Highway.
Yes.
So we'll collect all those particular items, or those pills, capsules, those drugs, take a total amount, tally them up, weigh them up, make sure we accounted for them, and then they are properly disposed at an incinerator, out of state that we contract with, and to properly dispose of them. And just so the public knows, the agents that take them over there, managers that take them over there, they watch them to make sure that everything that we want to be disposed of is disposed of, incinerated.
All at once. I mean, whether it be Oxycontin or Prilosec.
Everything, all at once.
All right. And so 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. this Saturday, 9000 Airline Highway is the address for BRPD's headquarters. Right. There are a few other locations around. To find those few other locations, DEATakeback.com?
Yes, sir.
All right. Before we get out of here, I know there's some stuff that I'm missing. What have we not covered yet?
Well, Brian, we also want to talk about One Pill Can Kill. That's a new DEA initiative that we talk about. One Pill Can Kill, because we are seeing a rash on uptick on overdoses from counterfeit pills. Okay, and these counterfeit pills may be disguised as a legal prescription drug.
Right.
However, it's usually going to be laced with high amounts of fentanyl
Yeah.
and or methamphetamine.
Are y'all able to trace anything from these programs? Because I mean, if it's anonymous when they're handed in, are y'all able to follow up in any way? If you were to find something, are they tested in any way, or is it just compiled and destroyed?
Yeah, everything's anonymous, Brian. So when they bring them to them, we don't do any type of follow up, regarding that. Like I said, it's anonymous. We want to give the public an opportunity to really help themselves and help us.
Absolutely.
So we're not looking to build any type of investigation from that point. However, if you have some information of crimes being committed or a crime that you want to report, please visit us at www.dea.gov. You can click on, we're all over the nation. You can click on the local area or the local office closest to you, and all information will show up.
Well, you know where I'm going to send them is 344-STOP is the Crimestoppers number. 344-STOP is where we go around here. Hey, 9000 Airline Highway, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday. 45,000 pounds last time. That's just a ridiculous amount. In the meanwhile, thank y'all so much for taking this on. Brian Singleton and Randy Harness from the DEA. Guys, appreciate y'all coming in today. Good luck to you Saturday.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We got Your Money Now coming your way in about 10 seconds from right now. After that, we step outside of East Baton Rouge Parish. We check in on the surrounding area. It's a little segment we call the Outside In. Right now, though, let's check Your Money Now. We'll check traffic. Coming right back at it. Next on Talk 107.3 FM.
Great job, fellas. Brian,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Brian,
Oh,
you might can look through that. That's
Feel better.
if you have any questions, I don't have my card, but we'll be back. And
like literally, as I'm doing that interview, I got the.
Thank you, man.
That's for after the show is over,
Appreciate
and I don't have to worry about being punchy.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, I need to find something for my wife.
So this is one that I am constantly fascinated by. Turn the mics for a second. No, thank you, Don. Okay. .755 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So thanks again to Brian Singleton and Randy Harness from the DEA for stopping by to talk about this weekend's drug take-back program. Brian gave me my weekend reading, my light weekend reading right here, titled Drugs of Abuse, a DEA resource guide. Oh, that's thick. That covers a lot of ground. Anyway, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Saturday, 9000 Airline Highway. It's BRP's headquarters. There are other locations, but Don will get mad if I push you anywhere else, right? Hey, we've got a lot coming your way next hour. Nick Hunter is the mayor of Lake Charles. He has had a year and a half. He has had 2 named storms, actually 3 if you count the winter storm, and a pandemic. And he's still not getting all the help that his city needs. He's going to join me at 8:15. Also, this coming up next hour, Jonathan Pixley from Match Point is going to hop on board to talk about where they're at with female athletes and NIL. Newfound emphasis on that. We have got to step outside of East Baton Rouge Parish. It is time for us to check in on the outside in. We are starting in Ascension Parish. Corey Ogeron, a council member at the center of a controversial move to unseat Ascension Parish President Clint Quinmaw from overseeing the parish's drainage plans, was escorted from a heated drainage board meeting by police and his colleagues Monday night. Video showed Ogeron being removed from the East Ascension Drainage Board meeting after he began shouting at some of his constituents and at least one fellow board member. He told one person, "Sit down!" When he was told, "You can't talk to voters like that," he said, "I just did." One of Ogeron's fellow board members can be heard urging him to move on from the spat, but he insists he's not finished before shouting at another resident who heckled him. Councilman Aaron Lawler says both Ogeron and Councilman Robert could be censured for what went down the other night. Robert was censured last year after he left a profane message on the parish attorney's voicemail. Why are we not watching this in primetime television? In Tangipahoa Parish, debris pickup in Ponchatoula is almost finished. Large pieces of equipment chopped and shredded through mountain-high piles of debris on Wednesday. 2 large debris fields are in the city. Both are working around the clock, collecting over 1.25 million cubic yards of debris. Out of that, 161,000 cubic yards comes from Ponchatoula. The parish right now has 145 debris trucks to clean up the mess. 20 of those were added yesterday. Authorities announced a critical discovery in a Sabine Parish cold case. It's been under investigation for 35 years. According to a Tuesday evening update from the Sabine Parish Sheriff's Office, human remains that were discovered in a local well back in 1986 have now been identified. They've been identified as a Grand Isle man named Lester Rome. 2 years after he went missing, a Sabine Parish landowner found skeletal remains in a water well on his property. In October of 2013, the Faces Lab at LSU made a possible connection with the remains and Lester Rome. Fast forward to October 18th, Sabine Parish coroner Dr. Mark Holder issued a fact-of-death certificate stating the skeletal remains recovered were in fact those of Lester Rome. That is The Outside In. It's presented by Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. You can check them out online at brptlake.com. brptlake.com. Get back to being your best you. Think physical therapy, think Baton Rouge Physical Therapy, and brptlake.com. We're going to check news here at the top of the hour. When we come back, Jake has got This Day in History next. Hey, I need to knock out my Mooyah before we get to This Day in History. What am I going to do in Tamron Hall? 8:06, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. In this hour, we will speak with the mayor of Lake Charles. He has had quite the saga over the last year and a half to 2 years. Nick Hunter has had to battle storms. 2 hurricanes last year, Laura and Delta, a winter storm as well, all while dealing with the pandemic, all while trying to get on the radar of the federal government to get their help in any tangible form, and then get follow-through on said help. Oh, by the way. That's at 8:15, 8:40 this morning. We're going to talk with Jonathan Pixley from Matchpoint, talking with Jonathan about some efforts that they're making towards women's sports. When you walk into the world of name, image, and likeness, the game has been changing rapidly over the last few months. Olivia Dunn is a gymnast at LSU. She is the most valuable NIL signee out there right now. What's being done to help propel others to that level, to that status, make the most of it, make the most of their opportunities, especially when you consider that the popularity on the field is not nearly where it is for men's sports? Can you get the NIL popularity, the NIL hype, to translate back to attendance and the like? We're going to talk about that and a couple of other things. Jonathan Pixley joins us at 8:40 this morning. Hey, bonus segment for the YouTube audience. We'll probably have the audio played back for you tomorrow, but if you want to hear it today, Dr. Ian Smith. You ever seen the show The Doctors? He's on it. He's the health and fitness guru. It's not what he's talking about today. He's got a new book out. No, it's not about health and fitness. It's a crime drama, part of an overall series that he has taken on. That's all coming your way before we're done here today. All right, we're going to take you back in time with This Day in History in just a minute. First, though, got to tell you, lunchtime is just a few hours away. Might I interest you in a burger? Might I interest you in earning rewards towards a free burger? Download the Mooyah app. Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. Download the Mooyah app today, and you can start earning. Every dollar you spend is a point. 50 points equals $5. That's going to add up quickly towards, well, free food. By the way, when you download the app, not only are you earning rewards every time you buy, but you get random surprises as well. First of all, you get a free order of fries just for downloading the dadgum thing, right? And then sign up on Facebook as well, more bonuses. Then when you swing by Mooyah, either Segan Lane, just north of Industrialplex, or Blue Bonnet at Highland, either way, you're getting the same great service, the same great food, the same great ingredients, the same certified Angus beef, the same selection across the board with your burger. But now you can be earning towards more burgers with Mooyah. Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes in the Mooyah app. All right, Jake, time to take us back in time. What happened on this day in history?
We're going to start things off in 1918. Margaret Owens sets the world typing speed record of 170 words per minute for 1 minute.
Okay.
1975.
Wait, so I'm assuming this is chronological again?
Yes.
So nothing in 1879?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Well, maybe.
Thomas Edison applied for the patent for the light bulb.
How did I miss that?
Yeah.
That's annoying. By the way, that record of 170 words per minute has obviously been beaten. It is now 216.
Okay.
That's over 3 words a second. Your hands should be falling off. 1975, Coast Guard Academy first allows women to enroll.
Cool.
Same year, same day, Elton John is given a star in Hollywood.
All right.
1988.
Wait, what year was Elton John given a star in Hollywood?
1975.
That's about right. Okay.
1988, Boston Celtics beat Yugoslavia. 113 to 85 in Madrid.
Yugoslavia.
I didn't know club teams played international teams.
Really?
Was that a thing?
Oh.
I guess it was.
As long as they won.
And in 2001, the United We Stand benefit concert for September 11, 2001 Terrorist attacks victims held at RFK Stadium, Washington, D.C., organized and headlined by Michael Jackson and featuring Aerosmith, Mariah Carey, and the Backstreet Boys. What a lineup.
Aerosmith, Mariah Carey, and the Backstreet Boys?
Headlined by Michael Jackson.
Wow. All right, cool.
That's all of the events. You got any for me?
I had Thomas Edison applied for a patent on the light bulb in 1879.
Wow. First time I heard that. Let's get right to the birthdays. First up, this person has unfortunately died, but is a legend nonetheless. Carrie Fisher was born on this day in 1956.
Aw.
Shout out to her. Kim Kardashian turns 41 today.
Uh-huh.
And Judge Judy turns 79 today.
Yeah, Judge Judy, 79. It's she's got to be getting close to retirement.
I don't know. I wouldn't blame her if she called it quits, because she's had a pretty good career so far.
Her replacement's sitting right there waiting for her after the Parkland trial. Judge Scherer out of Florida.
You got any other birthdays for me?
Zach Greinke from the Astros.
Couldn't tell you that one, but happy birthday to that person. Only one death of note for me. Shannon Hoon died on this day in 1995.
Shannon Hoon.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the folks who Shannon Hoon is.
He is the guitarist for, what's the band called?
Blind Melon.
Blind Melon, that's right. I read up on him a little bit before the show started. Very interesting stuff. I don't really care to share it over the air, but if you got some free time, it's interesting. That's the only death I have to report on. Let's get right to the holidays. First up, we have National Pumpkin Cheesecake Day.
Okay.
National Reptile Day.
I had that one, Reptile Awareness Day.
That was my next one.
Those of us who aren't aware of reptiles.
Yes, we need to promote the fact that reptiles do exist.
Yeah.
Count Your Buttons Day.
I saw that one. It's a stupid holiday.
1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 on my person right now.
All right. I'm not even going to bother counting because I don't participate in that day.
That's unfortunate. I was hoping you'd feel a little more festive on a national holiday such as this.
Well, you haven't gotten to the good holiday yet, so.
Well, first up, we have International Day of the Nacho.
There you go. Now you're to the good holiday.
You know I had that one coming up next. And
when were nachos invented?
When were nachos invented?
Yes.
Probably on this day.
What year, Slappy?
1943
in a tiny Mexican town right across the border from Fort Duncan in Texas. They were a huge hit with U.S. soldiers. Yeah, easy to eat, quick, boom, dispose, move on your way.
Cheese and chips.
Yep.
Such a simple combo, but so effective. It's like peanut butter and jelly. Or peanut butter and chocolate. I'm hungry. And finally, Back to the Future Day.
Yes, do you know why it's National Back to the Future Day?
Isn't that the date they travel? Is it either when the first movie came out it was this day, or was it the date they traveled back to in the first movie?
It was the date they traveled to in the second movie.
Oh,
This was the one they went to in the future in the second movie. The year that Marty McFly and Doc Brown visited in Back to the Future Part 2.
Which was last year.
It was actually 2015, I think.
Was it 2015?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought it was 2020. Yeah. But that's going to conclude this day in history.
All right, we are due up for a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Lake Charles Mayor Nick Hunter next on Talk 107.3. Excuse me. Not today. Tomorrow. Supposed to be. Renee says in the first one they traveled back to November 5th, 1955. I did know that.
By the way, good call, Renee, on the Back to the Future trivia.
All right, I got to dive into this later. 817 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP, Hour 3 in mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So yesterday at the Rotary Club meeting, the Rotary Club of Baton Rouge meeting, Lake Charles's Mayor Nick Hunter was the guest speaker. And he told just an absolutely riveting story about what his city and what he, as mayor of that city, has gone through over the course of the last 2 years. If I mention Lake Charles, you're probably going to think Hurricane Laura. You might even think Hurricane Delta. But it goes so much more than that. Being hit with punch after counterpunch, Lake Charles has had a lot to withstand over the last 2 years. Mayor Hunter joins us now. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Well, look, I personally, Nick Hunter, I am doing okay.
Good.
I remind myself often that my family is good and I'm good. And there's a lot of people out there that have worse than me. I'm doing okay.
How's your city?
Well, that's a different answer, and it depends on who you ask. I mean, we have a population of 80,000, and you probably get 80,000 different answers to that question. You laid it out pretty well, but we have been affected by more federally declared disasters over a year period than any other city in American history. And so there are some neighborhoods within Lake Charles that literally look like Hurricane Laura just hit yesterday. And so every day gets a little bit better. Mm-hmm. But obviously, as I said yesterday, and as I have continued to say, we certainly feel a little disheartened and a little disappointed and frustrated with the overall federal response. And I know that's not unique in Louisiana, but we have been through more disasters than any other city in American history, and we've also waited longer for federal dollars than any other city in American history. So the disappointment is very palpable out there.
Yes, and we're seeing it now in southeast Louisiana as this year, as Hurricane Ida rolled through. When all the headlines hit New Orleans, all the news outlets went to New Orleans, and then when they realized New Orleans wasn't hurt, they just moved on, and Lafourche and Terrebonne and the like were all kind of just left like, hey, we're still hurt. Meanwhile, in southwest Louisiana, y'all were hit by Laura and Delta last year, and you're saying the exact same thing and have been for a year now.
We are, and I am a little conflicted as of late to talk about some of these things because I know what's happening in southeast Louisiana, and I remember what that was like, and our community remembers what that was like. So absolutely the immediate, acute attention deserves to be on southeast Louisiana, but we've got to have a larger conversation about long-term recovery, and there's got to be a better way for the way we do these things. What we are pleading for is supplemental disaster aid, and this is aid that commonly comes after a major hurricane or a major natural disaster. Hurricane Katrina got it 10 days after the event, 98 days after Superstorm Sandy. The most recent example was 233 days after Hurricane Michael, supplemental disaster aid was provided. It took southwest Louisiana 400 days to get supplemental disaster aid from Congress after Laura, and then remember going through 3 additional federally declared disasters. So we set a record for the amount of disasters and also the length of time it took Congress to act on supplemental disaster aid. And I've just got to be blunt at this point that it makes us feel like we are less American than some of the other communities that were affected by a singular natural disaster over the last 20 or 30 years.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think it's more a matter of we all have short attention spans as Americans, and we chase the next headline to the next largest market. I don't think it's Lake Charles in general. Lake Charles would be in a larger pool of, if it's not a top 25 market, everybody moves on. And I get where you're feeling with that too. Because it's very real, Mayor Hunter. We saw it play out, and we're still seeing it play out.
What you just laid out is true, and I will give some. I'm not going to say slack, but I guess I can understand it more from the media standpoint and the general public standpoint, where I have no slack and cannot accept or really understand is on the governmental level. On the federal level, how can you have a short attention span when you see Americans that are suffering? And how can you have a short attention span when you're treating Americans differently based on political clout or political bandwidth? And I know that sounds a little naive to say that, but it shouldn't be a political thing to help people in the aftermath of natural disasters. Unfortunately, we have seen that for Supplemental Disaster Aid, it is an extremely political animal.
Absolutely, and there's so many other things going on politically, whether it be the political battle lines that have been drawn over a pandemic, or the election of a new president, changing of the guard, if you will. All these things have happened in the span of time from when Laura hit till now. They've all drawn political battle lines. They've all created division, and they've all garnered headlines that take away from the people that are suffering.
Absolutely, and that what you just said is true. I don't think it's right,
no,
but it certainly is true. And I guarantee you that a resident of Southwest Louisiana who lost their home and is suffering in the midst of 2 or 3 natural disasters back to back, it's hard for me to look at them in the eyes and say, well, because of COVID and the presidential election, you're not getting the help that someone in the Panhandle of Florida got 2 years ago.
And, it's not acceptable, and you shouldn't accept it. And you made a good point yesterday, repeatedly actually, of not wanting to say anything disparaging of any elected officials. But at a certain point, don't certain people have to be called out for not doing their job?
Yeah, that's been a struggle of mine, but at the moment, I really feel like I have got to understand my responsibility and my role as a mayor of Lake Charles. I have a limited bandwidth, and I have a limited impact, and so for me to simply just light a fire to every bridge I want out there, I don't think that's useful to my constituency right now. So I will just say in very general terms that I think there's a lot of people in D.C. and Louisiana that could and should be doing more. We continue to advocate on behalf of locals. We continue to communicate with anyone and everyone who will listen to us. But at this juncture, and this is my opinion, for me to just unleash, I think would be a little self-serving, and it would not be for the benefit of locals. So I'm going to continue to work with everyone we can, but there's a lot of people that I believe could be doing more to help Southwest Louisiana.
Well, I don't know what your drink of choice is, but I want to be there and I want to be pouring when you turn that corner.
All right. Thank you, man. I'll let you by.
Absolutely. Lake Charles Mayor Nick Hunter is our guest, and I'm not making light of the whole situation. I know where you're at and know how you feel about that, because biting the hand that feeds you is a terrible way to do lunch. So let's bring us up to speed on where Lake Charles is right now as far as actual rebuild is concerned within the city. Percentage-wise, how much is back from Laura and Delta?
Well, that's a really big question. It depends on what you're asking about. I can tell you that we still believe about 8%, 6 to 8% of our population is dispersed outside of Lake Charles. We believe some of that is permanent as far as the individuals themselves, and certainly that hurts to hear that some people are leaving and not coming back. However, the economic assets we have here are very strong. I mean, the economic engines that make up Southwest Louisiana are back, and those that are not back are coming back. So the job availability is robust here. Our economic outlook is good over the future. So those population numbers, we believe, will rebound. We still have, and for a city like Charles, this number is a large number. It may not sound like a large number to other cities, but we still have probably between 800 and 1,000 structures in the city that need to be demolished. So it depends on the neighborhood. It depends on who you ask. You know, the storms like this tend to simply uncover social issues that exist before the storm and highlight social issues that exist. So you are seeing who had insurance and who didn't have insurance. You are seeing who had the financial ability and financial capability and who doesn't. You are seeing those low to moderate income homeowners or residents suffer more than others. And that's what we see in Lake Charles. As I said a moment ago, there are some neighborhoods that look like Hurricane Laura literally just hit yesterday. There are some neighborhoods that have recovered 100%. So I will say every day that it gets a little bit better because of the lack of a commensurate and equitable federal response. Locals are pivoting, and we're using every resource we can. The road is going to be longer, and it's going to be rockier than it should be. But as I said yesterday, I truly believe there is no scenario where Lake Charles just simply does not recover, where this is some kind of knockout punch for this community. That's just not going to happen. We're not going to let that happen.
No, absolutely not. It's just going to take a little bit longer because you have the compounding of, well, you have two hurricanes and then the winter, was it the winter storm that hit you, or was it, it's the flood back in May?
Well, it was all of the above. We had a hurricane in August, 6 weeks later, Hurricane Delta. Then we had a winter storm, and then a 1,000-year flood event. All of those events happened within about a 10-month span.
And within that 10-month span was also part of the pandemic as well, which only compounds things and makes it worse. We've got about 2 minutes left with Mayor Nick Hunter of Lake Charles. Mayor Hunter, I've got to ask you for a positive outlook on the future, though. Where is Lake Charles looking bright for the near future?
Well, as I said a moment ago, there's a lot of communities that would have gone through what we went through and would have seen major employers pull out. They would have seen major employers say, hey, we're done, we're moving on. And we have not seen that. Absolutely every one of the major employers that we have visited with are coming back with full employment or in the process of doing that. So, you know, we believe that when we build back and as we build back daily, we're building back stronger. We are hardening our assets and this community to become more ready for the next storm. And so while it's difficult sometimes moment by moment and day by day, the long run is if you look in the long run, it's very positive for Lake Charles. Mm-hmm. Lake Charles is going to be okay in the long run. Again, I'm just really worried about some of these neighborhoods and some of these low to moderate income citizens, and we just can't forget about them. They are just as much a part of this community as anybody.
He is Lake Charles Mayor Nick Hunter. Looking forward to 2022 because the rebound will continue. Look forward to speaking with you again because this conversation is not over with. We're just out of time for today. Thank you so much for hopping on, sir.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Tell you what, looking ahead to 2022, you know how the lieutenant governor likes to pitch staycations around Louisiana? I think everybody needs to get on board for contraband days next year. I've heard good things, never experienced it. Maybe that could be in line. Hey, let's talk NIL next. Do what? Yes. THAN on the end of Jonathan, and I need to give you his phone number. Yeah. Okay. All right. Byron says, I didn't realize the population in Lake Chuck dropped to 80,000. It used to be about 100,000. Yeah. It's bad. And that's the thing, though, man. It was struggling before the storms, and then the pandemic hits, and everybody struggles, and then you get back-to-back hurricanes, and then you get the winter storm, and then you get the flood. Here's the thing, though, man. To hear Nick Hunter, the very first infrastructure dollars that come to town need to go there. Rebuilding the I-10 bridge down there needs to happen. If for no other reason than just to pump the construction jobs through his town. And get more people in L'Auberge de Lac for their sports book. Because if I'm not mistaken, their parish was not one of the ones that opted out of sports betting. But, yeah, you get that sports book up and running, and you get everybody from Beaumont coming in from Texas, and you're right back at it from a tourism standpoint. It doesn't help that they have Higgins as a rep. It shouldn't matter, but it does. Higgins is seen as a joke. That was what I was hoping to get out of him there, and I have no idea if that's where he was going, or I have no idea if that's what he was talking about. But when you have a second-term congressman expending all of his political capital trying to negate the certification of an election rather than working on his own backyard, you've got a problem, my friend. That's not a good thing. That's not a good look. Yeah, Byron, that hits home with me. So here, kill my mic and write this number down, please. I gotta go see what Condon wanted. He popped down here for a minute. I'll be right back. The thing about that, though, is this, and this is where I struggle with it, Byron. They elected him. Like, they elected him, and that's what you're going to get out of him. You sent the guy up there to do exactly that. Who was was it Denny Green was the NFL coach? They are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. That's Clay Higgins. Give me one more second. I was testing something out, and yeah, there's definitely something wrong. We'll deal with it after the show. Don't worry about it right now. We'll talk about it after the show. It's not you. Got one more week to go for Boo at the Zoo. Get costumed up and come on out this Saturday and Sunday, October 23rd and 24th. Children ages 12 and under will receive prepackaged treat bags upon exiting their zoo adventure. Dress the whole family up for the costume contest to win a household membership to the zoo. Come and get in the Halloween spirit at this merry, not scary extravaganza. Boo at the Zoo. It's a good time for all ages. Visit brzoo.org/events for more details, or subscribe to the Mornings with Brian Haldane YouTube channel, and you're in the running to win tickets. We're giving away 4-packs of tickets after the show today just for subscribing to the YouTube channel. If you've already subscribed, you're already in. If not, get in there now and get yourself out there to Boo at the Zoo. All right, so the headline, I believe it was yesterday, reads, Baton Rouge firm launches division connecting female athletes to NIL deals. I have been intrigued by NIL from the start, and that continues now. Jonathan Pixley with Matchpoint joins us. Jonathan, welcome. How are you, sir?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
Doing fantastic this morning. The name, image, and likeness space has been a space that has continued to grow and is opening up doors for athletes who could very well be number one overall draft picks or will go on to something else professionally after their college career is over with. This move, tell us about what Matchpoint is up to when it comes to recruiting female athletes.
Well, at the beginning, and I'm honestly kind of sick of hearing the phrase "Wild Wild West," which has been it's been attached to this for since even before July 1. It has been that to a degree, and so understanding strategies and angles as to how to following compliance, get in touch with student athletes, because as you guys probably are aware, coaching staffs and administration and no university officials can be involved in anything that would appear as facilitating a deal for student athletes.
Right.
So, it's been difficult, especially during football season, to communicate with football players, as it should be, because they should be focused on what's going on the field, obviously. But as you can, I'm sure, surmise pretty easily, that's when their name is the hottest as well. Okay,
Right.
So what we have found is in the communication process with all of the athletes that we've been dealing with, not just at LSU, this is across the nation, the females have been the most communicative, and they have been the most, I'm going to use the word reliable. It's just a matter of getting back to you regarding maybe a particular partnership that you have set up for them or whatever. They get the social media space. They understand it. They're heavily involved with it. And what our hope is twofold. Number one, that they can monetize that. And number two, that it brings more attention to female athletics for what it's supposed to be, which is their success on the field or on the court or in the pool or wherever, on the track, wherever it is.
It's an interesting approach because this is something that I don't think we've never seen before, in that, like, let's take an Olivia Dunn. LSU gymnastics is, they sell out, right? But what if that were to translate to, like, let's say beach volleyball? How is it to make that level of transition to say you've got one athlete over here who is capitalizing on NIL? Can you just shift things over for someone wearing the same purple and gold?
Absolutely. And I'll give you an example. We've put together a partnership with Kendra Scott, where we had, and I'm looking at the list right now, there were two LSU gymnasts, Sarah Edwards, who's done several deals through our app already. We had a pole vaulter from Alabama, 2 volleyball players from Wisconsin, a Texas Tech cheerleader, a track and field athlete at University of North Carolina. So not only can we use it for other LSU athletes, we can use it for athletes all across the country. It doesn't have to be, and Olivia Dunn is in certainly kind of the exception to all rules, right? She's got like 5 million followers or 4 million followers total. And while she's a phenomenal gymnast, no doubt about it. She's also been in the influencer space for a long time. What we're hoping is that the young ladies who are athletes and, you know, obviously successful in what they do in their particular sport, that they're able to, again, monetize their ability through social media to promote themselves as young, strong, independent, athletic women, but also take that back and tie it into getting more recognition for what they do in their athletic area.
What sports are popping up first when it comes to the women's athletics? Is it? I mean, Olivia Dunn's going to come to mind, but she's clearly an outlier with that many followers. Is it? I mean, is there a particular sport that's rising above the rest?
Gymnastics seems to be as of right now, but I don't think we're in a position to say that anything is rising above the rest as of now. I'll give you an example. Julia Johnson, who is a golfer at Ole Miss, she's from Baton Rouge. They won a national championship. Ole Miss's only national championship ever last year. She, we've known the family for a long time. They call and say, look, we understand that you guys are involved in the NIL space. What do we do? Just like so many athletes have done, right? Then nobody knows what's going on, how to take advantage of it, just like a lot of the businesses don't understand it as of right now. And so we said, look, it's pretty simple right now. In Oxford, people know who you are. How can we take advantage of that, right? So she's an example in golf, and I know that there's a particular company here in town who's actually going to sponsor her at an amateur event that she's playing in December, which was not allowed prior to this. Now, they can't sponsor her for an NCAA event, right? But for an amateur event now, she can have a sponsor who pays for her travel or pays for her entry or whatever it is. So that's just another example of a different sport. I think all of them have the ability and the potential to be able to monetize this. I don't think it necessarily matters what sport you're in, as long as you understand the value of social media and how to take advantage of it.
Is the market different from the potential advertisers side? Is it the companies that are looking, are they different? I mean, you mentioned Kendra Scott a little while ago. You're not going to see Kendra Scott aligning with Ty Davis Price.
Probably not, yeah. Well, I mean, and I think, again, that feeds into what we're talking about with the female athletes. I mean, they're so incredibly marketable because they can obviously monetize the jewelry company or the clothing company for females or whatever, but they can also partner with restaurants that male athletes would partner with, or sporting goods stores that male athletes would partner with. So they probably have a bigger forum of brands that they can partner with than male athletes actually do. It's probably a wider array.
I would think so. I mean, because of the nature of the attention of the game on TV or wherever, the dollar amount might not be as big, but the opportunities would be that much more widespread.
Agreed. And you say the dollar amounts aren't as big. I would agree with that as well. But it all depends on the athlete that you're talking about, right? I mean, if you have a football player who's going to be drafted in the first round, obviously he's going to demand kind of a higher ticket for a brand as of right now. But if you're just talking about an athlete who maybe not as well known, they could be a football player or a basketball player or whatever, okay? And they may still not be as well known as that potential first round draft pick. Well, then it comes down to social media following. And how does that social media following create return on investment for the brands? And that's where the females have the advantage as of now, because a lot of them have paid closer attention to the social media aspect of this. And they've developed followers and they've developed profiles and all of those things. So, again, while you're right, the top 2 or 3% is going to include a lot of the elite male athletes. That next 97 or 98%, in our opinion, has a chance to be dominated by female athletes.
When you look at the social media following, is there like a minimum threshold? Because when this whole thing started and we saw Olivia Dunn, I started looking up a number of different LSU female athletes, and no one's anywhere close. Is there like a minimum threshold that would say, you don't even look at somebody beneath a certain number?
Well, we're not going to put a number on that yet, and here's why. Because we don't have enough data yet to accumulate it to really accurately say, okay, you got to have 5,000 followers. I mean, obviously, the more followers you have, the better,
sure,
right? But the point is, you could have a young lady or a young man who they show up on campus and nobody knows who they are, and the next thing you know, they become a star athlete, and now all of a sudden they've tripled in followers. So my point is, I don't think any platform, I don't think any business that's in the NIL space right now has the advantage of going, yeah, we're only dealing with so-and-so and so-and-so from a standpoint of followership. I think maybe, 24 months down the road, yeah, we'll be in that position where we can more accurately gauge that, but I don't think anybody's there yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's so widespread. You got like let's say an Ali Kilponen, LSU softball pitcher with about 6,500, 7,000 Instagram followers, and then you got like a Paige Beckers from UConn's basketball team who has 900,000, and somewhere in between is where the meat of the deals are going to be.
No doubt. And the other thing, because agents can be involved, and that's something that, people who don't really know the NIL space, they question, they're not sure how agents can be involved. Well, agents can be involved strictly for NIL deals, right? Mm-hmm. So if an athlete signs with an agent, that agreement ends the minute that young lady or young man graduates from the school or leaves the school for the draft or whatever it is that they're doing, right?
Right.
But obviously the agent does that because they want the relationship developed prior to, so that if you have somebody going to the NFL, they just simply re-sign with that person going into the NFL. That top 2 or 3%, like you say, Paige Beckers, for example, okay? I don't know for a fact that she does, but I'm going to go ahead and guess she already has an agent who's dealing with this stuff, right? But the good thing about the NIL space is unless that deal is exclusive, Paige Beckers could have an agent who's going after huge ticket items for her from an endorsement standpoint, and she could also use Matchpoint Connection as an app, as another tool to facilitate deals. So point is, there's a lot of leeway here. And again, like you said, yeah, Paige Beckers has 900,000 followers. She's in a much better position than anybody else is at this point. But who's to say that, the young lady that you just mentioned a second ago who's got 7,000 followers, who's to say that she doesn't jump up to 35,000 followers during her season because they're having a great year and she's having a great year and so on and so forth.
One can only hope she'll be having a great year since she's pitching for LSU. He is Jonathan Pixley with Matchpoint. Jonathan, before I get you out of here, got about a minute and a half left here. Before I get you out of here, when NIL launched at the beginning of July, there was a dollar amount per follower that was attached to it. How often are we going to see that morphed or changed or adjusted once data starts rolling in?
It's a good question. Obviously, somebody asked me the other day, what's it like to build be a part of building a company? We're not building a company; we're building a marketplace, right? I mean, this has never been done before.
That's the Wild West.
Yeah, it is. And thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate you throwing that in there. Of course. And look, whoever's listening to this show that knows me right now, they're going to call me and probably text me Wild West 50 times today. So, yes. But I think that from a standpoint of the dollar amount, it hasn't changed as of yet. Of course, there's a potential it can. It's basically for Instagram $10 for every 1,000 followers. It's $2 on Twitter for every 1,000 followers. Facebook's a little bit more gray, but again, that's not as big of a player in this. And so I think, TikTok's a huge one right now. So I certainly it'll change. It's like any marketplace, right? I think that those numbers go up or down based on the success or the level of involvement in the marketplace. We see this as a potential billion-dollar industry, and it's coming. So I can only think that those figures will go up based on how many followers you have.
Well, I'll continue to follow this because it's been intriguing from the start. I've been fascinated by it. I love seeing it for the athletes as well. And like you said, building the marketplace, building an entire market from scratch has been just beyond newsworthy to just historical. He is Jonathan Pixley with Matchpoint. Thank you so much for hopping on board with me.
Appreciate the time today, guys. Y'all have a great day.
You too, and we will talk to you soon because that's something that's not going away anytime soon. We are super long for a break. Come back, close it out next. I could talk NIL all day long. I could talk Paige Beckers all day long. And by the way, if she does have an agent, is doing a terrible job. So follow her on Instagram, and this is gonna sound crazy. I want my daughter to play ball like Paige Beckers. Like, this is the world we live in. Like, I'm following a female college athlete because I want my daughter to play ball like her. So every time she posts a video, I'm like forwarding it on to my daughter. Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do this? Anyway, her page is full of a lot of ripped up jeans and no tags of anybody. Like, no, hey, check out my Jordache. Is Jordache still a thing? I don't even know. All right, we've got, what have I got left? We're not going to have much time. Hey, 10 minutes after 9, y'all. Ian Smith is going to be on the hotline. Dr. Ian Smith, former host of The Doctors. He's going to talk a little COVID as well as his book, Wolf Point. So, looking forward to that. Tomorrow. Just record it for today. Yeah. No, Adobe doesn't have to be on to record. That sheet's coming back tomorrow. Don't care about that. Got one more segment to go. Yeah, I ran super long in the last segment. I was talking with a guy from Matchpoint about name, image, likeness, and how they're putting an emphasis on female athletes, which is smart. So, we'll go back to that tomorrow, too. Done with that. I have to visit this one tomorrow and this one tomorrow. That's done. That's done. That tomorrow, and that's done. .856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. One segment to go here on Mornings with Brian Haldane. Hey, don't forget you could still win a staycation on us at either the Renaissance or Watermark hotels. All you got to do, visit talk1073.com, take our staycation survey at talk1073.com, and you are instantly registered to win a one-night stay with valet and dinner for two at the Gregory with the Watermark, or a one-night stay with breakfast for two and dinner for two at Tallulah over at the Renaissance Hotel. We draw two winners a month, one on my show, one on Jay Ducote's show, and you could be in that number by taking the staycation survey at talk1073.com. Speaking of the Jay Ducote show, going to be on location this evening, if you will, over at Live Oak Arabians off Jefferson Highway for the CCA Awards and Banquet. That's going to be going on tonight. From 4 to 6 is when the Jay Ducote show is. The event, I believe, is 5:30 till 11. After Jay's show, Kevin Ford will be bringing you Louisiana Outdoor Adventures from that very same location. Topic we didn't get to earlier in the show today. Oh, and by the way, if you're not watching us on YouTube, you might want to move over to the YouTubes because Dr. Ian Smith, former host of The Doctors, is going to join me to talk a little bit about COVID. He was the fitness guru on The Doctors, right? Going to join me a little bit to talk about COVID, but also he is an author of a series of books that are crime dramas. The second in that series is called Wolf Point, and it's out now. We're going to talk a little bit about COVID, a little bit about The Doctors, and a little bit about Wolf Point with Dr. Ian Smith coming up about 10 minutes from right now. Topic we didn't get to earlier in the show today is that the Baton Rouge Gallery has partnered with BTR, with the airport, to showcase local artists' work at the airport. And I wanted to bring it up in this regard. This is cool, right? It's a neat little story. But have you ever noticed artwork in an airport before? Like, I want to say I've noticed maybe advertisements, couldn't tell you what for. I want to say that I can regularly hear the message to not leave my bags unattended. I can tell you where I can find a smart water, but I don't know that I've ever actually noticed. Outside of Denver, and I've never been to Denver, but you want to go down an Illuminati rabbit hole on YouTube, look up Denver Airport. Anyway, it's a cool collaboration. It's called BRG at BTR. Some 24 Louisiana artists are going to be featured at our airport. All right, we got to get out of here. Fox News Rundown's coming your way next. Oh, almost forgot. Got to remind you, if you're in the market for a new mattress, now is the time. Mitch Kimball's got the deals, got the financing, and if you mention you heard about it here, you get free delivery. The Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, 4065 Florida Boulevard, or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2. If you are in the market for a new mattress, if you don't know if you're in the market for a new mattress, how long have you had your mattress? Yeah, we wait too long to re-up on the mattresses, and Mitch can help you out. 4065 Florida Boulevard or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2. Mention you heard about it here. You get a free delivery at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. All right, thanks again to everybody who hopped on board today. If you missed anything, it's on demand at talk1073.com. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, YouTube. I got 10 minutes before Dr. Smith calls in. So flip the monitor and everything over to where I can hear. Is my mic on in 2? Am I on in 2? All right. No, I'm not hearing myself. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Now, do me a favor. Oh, wait. Turn on the phone pot real quick. It's on? All right. There it is. All right. Good deal. Then it's in 2 and 4, correct? Then YouTube should hear us just fine. And we will record just fine. And let's see. Questions for YouTube. If anybody does not want tickets to the Boo at the Zoo, go ahead and post it now. If I draw your name, I will discard that name and draw another one. But as soon as I'm done here, once I'm all off the air and everything, I'm going to pick our 5 winners for Boo at the Zoo tickets. Looking ahead to tomorrow, looking at getting Tanner McGee on tomorrow, State Representative Tanner McGee. The process has been slow getting FEMA trailers down to southeast Louisiana in the wake of Hurricane Ida. And I want to get Nick on to talk about that. Tanner on to talk about that a little bit. They went so far as to kind of circumvent FEMA so that the state could get involved. Well, now he's got problems with GOSEP saying they're going too slow. Meanwhile, we're, 2 full months removed? Bruh. Gotta have a place to stay, you know? Also tomorrow, of course, this Ian Smith interview will air back, provided it's decent. I'm sure it will be. Dr. Ian Smith may be best known for his expert health and fitness advice on national broadcasts and his best-selling nonfiction books. But his crime novels have taken critics and fans alike by storm. Looking forward to this. The latest is called Wolf Point. Hopefully we'll be able to talk a little bit about COVID and fitness as well. Oh, also looking to run down... we got a whole other segment on Ask the Governor from yesterday tomorrow. Yesterday, tomorrow. That's an interesting turn of phrase. Ask the Governor was yesterday. I've got more about it that we're going to dive into tomorrow. I didn't have a chance to today, but want to take a look at the governor made an emphasis about talking about getting more kids vaccinated. And as the CDC or FDA or whomever opens things up for younger kids, it's going to be a growing question, but I've got questions about the whole thing. Also, and I didn't get to this one today as well. I got to circle that for tomorrow. Friday. Okay. Didn't get to that one either. Wow. A lot of ground to cover. Also, he was asked questions about new roads being built. And he was asked about the amendments that are on the ballot this November as well. So we'll dive into all of that tomorrow, which I should probably reserve more than one segment for it, but that's probably all it's going to be is one segment. In the meanwhile, I think I've got room for one more if there's something else y'all wanted to cover. I'm always up for suggestions. Really? So what's going on, Jay? Going all right.
What did you think of that podcast part? Did you like that?
I did. I do. No, I like it. It's seeing bro spelled out like that just looks weird for a second, but I'm gonna run it out. It's worth running it out like that to see if we get any kind of search advantage because of it. I mean, if we find that we're better off in the mix just for the whole thing of just BRO, then that's fine too.
Update that later.
Yeah.
But overall, look at that. You're good with.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Can't throw a whole bunch of YouTube footage to find one of you doing like a really good pose or something. That was good.
I'm relatively animated on YouTube from time to time when I'm not doubled over in pain.
Yeah. So let's go. You hurt your back now too?
Yeah.
Compensating for the knee or just unrelated?
Unrelated. Doing squats. Just off kilter, just the slightest bit. And did not have the proper form on the way up one time, and bees what it bees. I mean, I like to mix all that. I walk a little bit, I run a little bit. I'll get on the elliptical once in a while, but I enjoy lifting weights. I mean, once or twice a year, I'll really F myself up pretty good. But it's what I enjoy. The best workout is the workout you'll actually do. I was told that by, I forget who, some fitness expert at some point. And that's what I'll actually do. I will do cardio before my weights, like eating your veggies before your steak sort of thing. Yeah, just get the heart rate up first and then go lift. I'll get more out of the lift as well, but it's, yeah. Yeah. He's got to post everything on demand, schedule it out on Twitters, and then he's done. Yeah, 9, 10. So I've got this outlet through Premier Networks where I get pretty big name guests. I'm not showing any. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of times they've been falling in after the show. Well, I used to just end the YouTube broadcast and record it for the next day. Well, I'm like, why not offer it to the YouTube audience same day in real time? Yeah. It'd be cooler if it was in studio, but I'll take what I can get. So.
Jake, do you do anything between that and our lunch meeting? When you're done here?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because I got like 9 episodes right now. Let me get 2 more just to be, yeah, yeah, and we'll be ready to roll. Thank you. Yep, that gets it done. All right, got another outlet wanting weekend programming. Oh, there it is right there. You got it. Okay. We up and running? All right. Dr. Smith, you there?
I'm here.
All right, excellent. You know him from The Doctors, but he is the author of crime dramas as well. Dr. Ian Smith joins us this morning. Dr. Smith, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
No, I'm doing well. Glad to have you on. Intrigued by your book series. Admittedly, I know you from a nonfiction standpoint. I know you from The Doctors. I know you as you're basically the fitness guru from The Doctors. What brought you around to writing fiction?
You know, I've always loved fiction. I've read it. I've been a big consumer, particularly of the detective mystery suspense genre. And so it's something that's been part of me since I was a little kid. And in college, I actually started writing it for myself, thinking one day maybe I'll publish it. But, you know, as you said, my nonfiction career, my health and wellness and diet books really have been my mainstay. But I just decided that, you know, I'm in a season in life where I love fiction. I love to consume it. I write it. And so I said to my publisher, I want to publish my novels. And thus was born my fiction career.
It's fascinating, to say the least, to be that diverse in skill sets. We'll get back around to Wolf Point in just a minute, which is the latest in your series. But I've got to start with your medical background. I've got to start with you as a physician. If we could talk about COVID for just a minute, the world we've been in over the last, going on 2 years now, or more than a year and a half now. Your career as a physician, what have been your main takeaways throughout this pandemic when it comes to looking at our society as a whole?
Well, I think that, you know, speaking as a scientist and a medical expert, I think it's been disheartening. I think that, you know, we have trained all of our lives and our careers for these types of moments. It's like here's the example. You know, if you have your house is on fire, you want a fireman to come to take care of your house. You don't want your landscaper to do it. You want your fireman to do it. Mm-hmm. Here we are in a global pandemic, which is all about science. It's not politics, not religion. You want doctors and nurses and other public health advocates, practitioners to guide you. That's what we're here for. And so it's been very disheartening to see that the credibility of physicians and scientists has really been kind of, you know, put down. And you have people who are on the internet who are, you know, becoming all of a sudden experts. It's just very disheartening. And listen, the only way out of this mess that we've been in for a year and a half is through vaccines and practicing good social distancing and mask wearing. This is not political. Like, I'm not a political person in that way. I want to help everybody. And that's what science says. I follow the science. So it's been very disheartening. I'm happy that a lot of you have gotten vaccinated. I want to keep everybody safe. There are young kids who can't be vaccinated. There are teachers who are in schools. I mean, there's so many people who are vulnerable, people who are immunocompromised, that we have to look after others, not only look after ourselves and what we want. Think about helping somebody else.
No, absolutely. Dr. Ian Smith is our guest. We're going to be talking about his latest book in just a second, but I've got to get one more in because you're the fitness guy. You're like you wrote the books about the diet. You blast the sugar out. Meanwhile, people are getting incentivized for vaccines by being given like a dozen donuts or cheeseburgers. How is that hitting home with you?
Well, listen, I say this all the time. However, you can get people in the door right now, because the vaccines are life-saving. I mean, look at the Salk vaccine, what it did to polio. I mean, vaccines are not new in our country and the world, and so vaccines are lifesavers. Whatever you got to do to get people in the door, I'll take a couple of pounds in weight, versus having someone not be vaccinated and potentially die from COVID. 700,000 Americans have died from COVID. I don't want that number to keep growing. I want the number to stop. So, yeah, I've worked with a program called Flex for Checks, giving out $100 for people who want to get vaccinated. Once again, it's not trying to buy people's, decision to get vaccinated. It's trying to say, this is really important for all of us. We're in this together, and here's $100 to help you maybe with cost of getting there or whatever it is, child care, whatever it is. But I think it's important for all of us.
Absolutely. Let's move on to Wolf Point. Let's move on to this series of books. This isn't just one book. This isn't just one toe in the water for you. You've got a character named Ash Kane. He's the protagonist here. Tell us all about him.
Sure. So Wolf Point is based in Chicago. Chicago is the backdrop. It's a great place to have it. Chicago has all the things that a city should have. It has sports teams. It has great food. It has a beautiful skyline against Lake Michigan. But it also has grit and violence, and it has philanthropy and affluence. So it's just a great backdrop. But Wolf Point is based on a character named Ash Kane, who's a former Chicago police detective who leaves the force because he won't participate in a bad cover-up. So there's some tension there. But he decides he still wants to pursue justice. So he hangs up his own shingle, starts a private investigative firm, and he takes on very few cases in and around the city. And when people read the books, the first book was called The Unspoken. This book's called Wolf Point. When people read the books, they talk about how they feel like they were in Chicago, because I work very hard to make sure that the streets go in the right direction and that the restaurants and buildings are where they're supposed to be on the right corners. Because I think, as a consumer myself of this particular genre, that when it's true, it feels authentic and you feel like you are immersed in the scene with the characters. Ash Kane is a great guy. He's a guy you want to have beer and pizza with. He's funny. He's self-deprecating. He's smart. He's tough and fearless. But he's also a romantic failure. He's got left at the altar by his fiancée. So he's perfectly imperfect, and men and women like him, and I hope that people cheer for him.
This is setting up for a longer series with Ash Kane. How far can this character go?
Well, that's the beauty of having a series. So every book, his story arc, his development, and the minor characters like Mechanic and Commander Burke, all these guys kind of have their own story arcs, character arcs, which is really awesome. The books have been picked up already to become a TV show, a streaming TV series. So hopefully next time you and I talk, it will be in production. So I'm excited about that. And the third book in the series is already written. That book is about a local anchor war between two local TV anchors. And one is being stalked, and all of a sudden a body turns up, and our guy, Ash Kane, is hired to investigate what's going on. So every year I plan on writing my nonfiction health books in April. They'll be published in April, and every fall in Ash Kane now.
The very next question I had on my list was, did you write this to be solely a book, or were you writing it to be adapted to screen as well? So you've covered that one. Let's get back around to Chicago. Clearly you have a love affair with this city. You're on in South Louisiana right now. We often refer to New Orleans as its own character whenever it's in film. Chicago it's only a handful of cities that can fit that bill. The pairing there was the city something you were going after, or was Ash Kane something you were going after?
Both. I I think that you're right about New Orleans, by the way. There are very few cities that have such distinctive character. New Orleans, for sure, is one of them. And Chicago is another one. Chicago, you know, has all the good stuff and the bad stuff, right? It's got great sports teams. It's got great food. But it also is, at its core, the city at its core is politically corrupt. It's been that way for decades. So I'm not being negative about it, but the city operates behind closed doors, and one hand slaps the back and washes one. It's just how it works. That's how the city works. So I really want people to feel the city, not just the city you hear on the news media, but I want you to experience the city as we as Chicagoans know how the city is. And that means that, yes, there's violence, but there's also generosity and philanthropy. Yes, there's, you know, segregation and tension at times, but there's also harmony. And that, to me, makes for a great backdrop for this type of book.
Wolf Point is available right now. Came out earlier this month. The potential for this thing is there, to be sure. I can't wait to dig into it. He is Dr. Ian Smith. Dr. Smith, thank you so much for hopping on board with us, man. I appreciate it.
I love talking to you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right. All clear? We're done? All right. I was hoping to make him laugh with the hamburgers and donuts thing. No, that's all right. That's all right. All right, YouTube, I will see y'all tomorrow. Hey, let me know how long you want to stick around for that bonus segment sort of thing, if you're into it, because Jodie Sweetin from Full House is up next, but it's a longer wait.